recently get fiber, so their internet is actually pretty good now.
Nice. I cannot attest to the internet that I have here, but it seems to be going fine so far. I don't know anything about it, but
Okay.
I know
Yeah,
the people who were here are very. The people who are staying here are work online a lot, so
okay.
hopefully they made sure their internet connection was good.
Okay.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, looks like we're live.
Okay. Oh, hello to our millions of viewers out there. Thanks for joining us to watch this draft.
Yeah. I mean, any second they're going to start it. I don't actually have the telecast up. Maybe I should open that up and watch what's actually happening in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, exciting things right now are, people standing with their families and wearing suits. That's I mean, part of the fun of watching the draft live is actually like seeing these guys with their moms. Like, it's always extremely cute. So, you are missing out on that if you don't have the telecast up yet.
You have to imagine it's probably like the best moment of their lives for the most part too.
Yeah, yeah. And something like, I mean, there's always like very like cute, memorable moments. There's Victor. Victor's now on the big screen with his family. He doesn't have his family's not very tall. Or he just
compared to him.
Small. Yeah, but like
I think everyone does compared to
like maybe like his brother's probably like 6'8", and he just looks like he's like 5'11" next to him.
Yeah.
This is also the first draft in recent memory where Woj will not be live tweeting the draft picks ahead of time. I don't know if Shams has committed to this. I don't know if there's a full ceasefire.
I'm actually I kind of changed my perspective on that. I used to be really annoyed by the whole thing because I'd be on Twitter or RealGM and people, I mean, I wouldn't even see Woj necessarily, but I'd just see other people retweeting him like 20 seconds before the pick was announced. But now I'm like, I'm just not going to like check social media as frequently.
Well, I definitely got used to the rhythm of it, Like I was like, oh, part of watching the draft is just the fact that like Woj, Shams, and occasionally Chris Haynes would be having this race, and we wouldn't actually get the drama of watching the draft, like the draft picks be unveiled live. Like the drama was like clicking refresh on Twitter and because if you don't do that, it's not unless you're just like, if you're sitting at home watching the draft and not on your phone and not interacting anyway online, you can enjoy it normally. But if you're a little bit nerdier, I don't know how many people have friends to watch the draft with. That's like, you're lucky if you've got an NBA friend that nerdy, like Simon and I have each other in an online capacity. But if you've got that in real life, if you're like, or like if you could go to there's one year actually where I found a sports bar that was going
that broadcast it.
Yeah. And went there with a friend. There's another year where I went to a bar by myself and watched the draft with audio.
Was anyone else at the bar watching, or was it just you?
I made a friend at the bar who was also into the draft, but no, it wasn't like it was packed. I didn't go to like a draft party. I was like a sad man at the bar by myself, but that's who I am. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah, the only draft party I've ever been to was a NFL draft.
Right. I hear
there are enough football fans around where you can find those, but NBA fans, not so much.
Yeah, it's true. Though, I live in Toronto, so there's not, the NFL fans are not, they're still, obviously the NFL is still popular everywhere in North America, but it's not like I see the NFL fans. It's more like hockey versus basketball in Toronto.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the Argos, right?
You know about the Toronto Argonauts?
I do. Yeah.
Why do you know that?
There's been a couple like former college players who went and played in the CFL.
All right.
So I have like an awareness that it exists.
I don't think a lot of people in Toronto have an awareness that the Argonauts exist. Like the CFL is sustained entirely by the like the Prairie West Coast teams. Like they're like, there's a little bit more of a kind of like strong CFL culture, like because it's the only show in town, right? Like if you're
you need something to do if you live out in the frozen wasteland.
Yeah, the shout out the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Edmonton Elks, who dropped their problematic Eskimos nickname, and now they're the Elks, and people complain about that. Okay. I think both names are cool and fine. I don't know. I like the Elks. Like I think that's a good sports name. Calgary Stampede. No, is that what they're called? Anyways, I'm going to embarrass myself for my lack of CFL knowledge here. But those teams keep the league going. The Toronto team is like the least popular team in the league, despite having by far the largest population base. Like Winnipeg, with its population of like 300,000, completely dominates attendance over Toronto that has a population of 6 million.
Well, yeah, because like 20% of the people who live there go to the games.
Yeah. And I don't know, that's fine. I mean, I grew up in a pretty small place where there was no major sports. Like we would have killed for a CFL team. We still try to get a CFL team. It's not happening. But anyways, NBA basketball. Countdown starting to watching Victor Wembanyama get picked by the Spurs. Can you imagine? With the first pick in the 2003 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Amen Thompson, Anthony Black, Grady Dick with the number 1 pick in the draft. I was thinking a little bit about this recently when people were joking about Michael Jordan still having control over Charlotte. I was looking down the list of like who would be the most Michael Jordan guy to pick. Like I wanted to make a joke and couldn't find someone who would be that funny, but I feel like Michael Jordan would be into Anthony Black. That would be his like surprise ruin the draft pick. He loves like proven college guys that have shown some competitive fire. I feel like he was so sad he didn't get to draft Psycho T.
Oh, that would have been perfect. Well, I mean, MJ, he played 4 years in college, right?
No, 3. He came out as a junior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was still in the days where even that was a little bit scandalous, right?
Oh, we have it here. The first pick or Adam Silver's coming to talk. Maybe it's not the first pick in the draft.
Okay.
Mute this.
My stream's a little bit behind yours, I think.
Okay, good to know. I won't react too quickly.
We're still getting the 360 cam where they're spinning around the Thompson twins. Okay. I'm seeing Silver. I mean, after Wemby, the draft starts, right? So.
Yeah. I love these Adam Silver speeches. They're like, I also kind of like him as a public speaker. Whenever he's speaking on a microphone, he speaks with the exact same cadence. Is always just like, no matter what I'm saying, I'm raising my voice and then lowering it a little bit at the end of the sentence. It doesn't matter if I'm banning Donald Sterling from the league or talking about restructuring tax benefits. It will always be the same intonation.
Well, that's a dude who's used to standing in front of a podium when he's talking.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what I kind of get from his style of speech.
Yeah, I mean, he got to practice with the second round of the draft every year, right? So.
Oh yeah, for many years. Now we have Mark Tatum still, right?
Yes, yeah, Mark Tatum. I like. Are you an Adam Silver commissioner fan? Where are you on the Adam Silver versus David Stern?
Can you be a fan of a commissioner?
I mean, you can be a hater of a commissioner, or you can be a non-hater of a commissioner. I think that's
true
as far as it goes.
I mean, I think Adam Silver is fine. I think that people expect him to care more about the integrity of basketball than the integrity of the business side of the league, which is kind of a misunderstanding of what his role is as commissioner, I think. So,
yeah. I mean, I think like just after he banned Donald Sterling for life, I remember like watching that press conference live and just like being so shocked. Like I think he won my heart forever with that one. Like people talk about like, oh, we need David Stern. He was actually tough. He was like people who like having a strong leader. I'm like, what did David Stern do? Like make players wear suits to games? Like, is that like Adam Silver has now banned 2 like garbage owners from the league. And what makes the league like, what possible move could you make as a commissioner that is more powerful than getting rid of a garbage owner? Like Robert Sarver legit ruined the Suns for like very consistently all the time. Like he made like, as a fan of like the Steve Nash era Suns, like Robert Sarver selling off first round draft picks to save money was like definitely something that made the league worse. So to be rid of two of the worst owners in the leagues, which means both those teams are like look at the Clippers post Donald Sterling. Like, they've been a powerhouse ever since he left. Like, what move could you make that would more benefit the league than getting rid of like the worst kinds of influence, which is like garbage owners?
Well, yeah, and I am a fan of the Pacific Northwest sports in general, so you're not going to get much, love from me necessarily.
Yeah. But yeah, never. I see a lot big section of the internet being like wishing David Stern was still alive and the commissioner. Rest in peace, David Stern. You were. But I was like, what? Why? I guess there's like an association. There's like a political thing about it where Adam Silver has been kind of painted as a more like liberal type of owner or something.
Yeah, I think that has some to do with it, but I'm going to check out this screen sharing thing and see if I can't just share. Okay, good. Okay, I can share the ESPN draft tracker so we can kind of keep up on where we're at.
All right.
Is there a way to zoom in? That's the question.
Yep, you're zooming. I can see a zoom. I am perceiving a zoom.
Okay, the pick is in. I mean, we are watching it live. It'll pop up in the draft tracker in a bit, but Adam Silver has yet to announce it.
2 minutes and 11 seconds where I'm standing.
Okay. Yeah, the Spurs are going to make us all sweat it out.
I do want to.
I figured they would wait until like just a couple of seconds left on the clock, but
yeah. I gotta say the broadcast team at the draft this year, I want to much improved from past years. There's been some, like when Stephen A. Smith was doing the draft, that was ruinous. That was like
people who don't watch college basketball and have no idea who the prospects are. Yeah,
like I don't watch college like it's not like I don't watch a lot of college basketball, and I know who the prospects like someone who clearly had no interest, who didn't even like do the homework. Yeah. Like the only thing he did the entire time was bitch and complain about what the New York Knicks were doing. Like it was his only input, being like, the Knicks still haven't drafted anyone. It's like, dude, they're not everyone here.
It's not their pick yet.
Yeah,
they're not up for another 7 picks.
It got cartoonish. It was just like Stephen A. Smith just bitching about the new. It's like, this is why do we have this random drunk fan as one of the commentators? I used to think Bill Simmons was kind of fun like in the draft.
Just because he was kind of unpredictable. I mean, Jay Billis has kind of been a stand-in for a long time.
Yeah.
I have the telecast muted, so I don't even know what's going on. But
so you don't know to drink when he says wingspan?
Oh.
Have you heard of this phenomenon?
No.
Well, for anyone listening at home, this is a great time to fill you in. Like, people made a draft day drinking game, and one of the things was like, whenever Jay Bilas says wingspan, you have to drink. And
which is multiple times every pick.
Yeah. And he got wise to it. Like he heard about this drinking game. And so on air at one point after doing analysis, he just looked straight at the camera and just went, wingspan, 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 wingspan. He said it like 7 times. It was great. There's no better like pinnacle of cult nerddom than the draft, like cult NBA nerddom specifically. Like this is what separates the freaks from the casuals.
Okay, let's really quick. They're about to announce the first pick, but while they're doing that, let's go over a couple of predictions that you have for this draft right before we get officially started.
Scoot Henderson's going number 2.
Okay, yeah, I'm in agreement there.
I felt that way the whole time. I was like, I don't think they're going to go through this draft process and determine that Brandon Miller is a, like best pick available over Scoot Henderson, just purely on a sort of like ceiling concept of things. How about you? You got a prediction?
Oh, there it is. It's official. Victor Wembanyama, first overall.
Maybe you're ahead of me then. Oh yeah, it says the pick is in on the screen.
Right. No, I'm just looking at the ESPN.
Okay. Adam Silver has just walked out on my stream. The little sound effects is played. Do 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 do.
I think I've been talked into what's his? No, I'm blanking on the name right now.
Give me a clue. We can figure this out together.
I think I've been talked into Leonard Miller being a lottery pick.
Oh, I've had him as a lottery pick for a while.
Okay,
I've seen him way lower on draft boards, but you were high on him, I thought.
Leonard Miller had kind of insane stats to close out the G League season. Like, he was putting up huge numbers near the end of the G League season, and his jump shot was improving. I think I got a really bad taste in my mouth with Leonard Miller early on in the season because I watched him play, and it felt like his movement was kind of awkward.
His movement's so awkward.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like a big man trying to play a perimeter game and not having the athleticism to do it. So
I think it's more awkward than that, though. It's like I've never seen anyone move like that, and I'm not saying that in a like good or bad way. I'm just like, it's weird. He's got like a I don't even know if you would call it like herky jerky. It's just sort of like, he moves strangely. And hopefully that's a good thing for him. Like, like players who play at unpredictable rhythms are like have an advantage. Like that's.
I mean, he was highly productive in the G League, which is a semi-pro league, right? So
yeah, and the fact that like he's moving that strangely, and like I think he's one of the most productive like G League prospects like ever, basically, right? Like more than like Jonathan Kuminga
during like the second half of the year,
yeah. And like overall, his like stats by the end of the year, it's like, I mean, I don't know. He's like, I don't mind a weird pick. Like I don't mind a strange atypical game. I'm more like, I think when someone comes along with an anomaly, like that's usually a positive thing.
Yeah. I just think NBA teams are going to see 6'10", long arms, all the defensive potential that comes with that, and he has somewhat of a perimeter game, and I think his shooting stroke looks pretty good too. So, he like huge guy with like unclear caps on what he's going to be good at. So you see him. I have Leonard Miller I have him just outside the lottery. I have him at 15. Yeah, I would say like late lottery. I'd be surprised if he went higher than like 12 at the absolute highest. But
who are some guys that you see? Like, cause like I talked a lot in our last podcast episode about like a top 11 being really strong and possibly even a top 12 with like Kobe Buffkin or whatever, but or even like a top 13 with Derek Lively, like those being in a lot of mock drafts. Like, who do you see potentially kind of like breaking that, like a random person that gets drafted in the top 10 or something like that who's not in our sort of agreed upon top 13 picks?
I mean, someone might be, just ridiculously high on. Oh man, Koulibaly.
Victor's crying. Koulibaly is who I was
Koulibaly could break that for sure. I mean, there's just such a small sample size with him, but like what we have most recently on Koulibaly is really good. Like massive improvement over the season in France for him. I mean, Jordan Hawkins, like one of the most efficient 3-point shooters ever in college basketball history. Maybe someone's just really keen on that.
Yeah. I think Jonathan Givony called Koulibaly like potentially one of the players with the highest ceilings in this draft. So that's it looks like Brandon Miller is going to be selected number 2. So my one prediction's already bad.
Number 2 is in.
I'm like terrible at like, by the way, like I'm like so disinterested in mock drafts and predicting who's going to pick what that like.
Well, I mean, it's hard because the info that we're working with, the intel that we're working with is like one day it's, Woj and Shams are so sure that Brandon Miller is going number 2. And the next day it's like, oh, things are swinging back the other way.
Yeah.
It's going to be Scoot. It's like, well, I don't really know what to believe.
It's also like, I feel like the draft shows us every year that like the people who we kind of trust with information are not necessarily like quite as plugged in as we think. Like they're
right. Like last year was really bad. And also, like, I don't necessarily think that they're lying. I just think that, if your source isn't the GM of a team, then you don't really know for sure.
Yeah. Who could you see dropping? Big drop tonight. Who's it going to be?
Well, there's always someone. This is all just media intel, right? But I just feel like the guy I've been hearing about dropping.
Jeremy Sohan just interrupt with the cast. Jeremy Sohan just came in, dapped up Victor Wembanyama, and I do want to say I'm very excited about the concept of a Victor Wembanyama, Jeremy Sohan front court. I think they fit together like
it's going to be fun.
Perfectly. Like this is going to be a huge blessing on Jeremy Sohan's career. Anyways, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Just wanted to interject.
No, that's all right.
Podcast.
I mean, it feels like Cam Whitmore is the guy who's been sliding down.
I don't get it. I see like shooting guard Amari. I see like wing him. Like he's the athleticism just pops so hard.
I've just heard maybe the feel for the game / basketball IQ isn't like as high as some of these other guys, but
I'm just not sure that basketball IQ and worries about that are the things that stop a GM from drafting someone. Like unless you think that he's I don't know. Like I guess I'm like J.R. Smith. What pick did he go at? Because he's got to be like no, sorry, J.R. Smith, because you're a smart guy now, but like J.R. Smith was like barely was able to enunciate words when he was drafted into the NBA, and I think he fell a little bit.
He's got a college degree.
Yeah, well now I think now J.R. Smith is so well spoken.
Like it's official. It is Brandon Miller.
Yeah, that's I'm surprised by that, but my Brandon Miller.
How do you feel about that? Because I know, like, we're on Real GM a lot, and I feel like the sentiment on Real GM is like Scoot Henderson is clearly a tier above Brandon Miller. Like, Brandon Miller does not have superstar upside. That's the sentiment. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's what we hear every day.
I mean, I think there's a world in which like Scoot Henderson is like this kind of like inefficient, messy, junky kind of player who like generates highlights but does not actually become very like good or effective due to some of the weaknesses in his game. Like maybe the shot's not there, maybe the defense not that good, maybe the playmaking was a little bit overrated in the scouting. And Brandon Miller is just like this like lock solid 20 point per game scorer with like pretty good intangibles. Like I can see a world where that exists. I just think like I don't love the physical tools of Brandon Miller besides his height. Like I love how tall he is. That's really cool to be 6'9" and have the amount of game he does. But I worry about the upside otherwise. Like I just what if we just watch him in an NBA game? It's just like you look kind of small and like defenses are overwhelming to you. So I feel like Scoot, I know he's going to be athletically stand out in the NBA, where Brandon Miller I'm a little bit less sure about. So I feel like that's where I understand the skepticism.
Yeah.
But Scoot does have like holes in his game that are reasonable enough. And Brandon Miller is really good at basketball. Was a really good college basketball player, and he's a 6'9" like pull-up monster. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of we're at the Portland Trailblazers here, right? And I think a lot of the things that you're saying about Scoot are valid. Obviously, not a great pairing with Dame and Anthony, right? Terrible pairing. So you have to imagine some kind of trade is going to happen here, whether it's the pick being traded or whether it's Dame being traded. I just don't see any world in which we go into next season with those three small guards who are all going to have various defensive deficiencies.
Yeah, I do think that Charlotte drafting Brandon Miller has accelerated the timeline of Portland's existential crisis.
I mean, if we're keeping the pick, I would rather have Amen over Scoot.
Did you see the picture of Charlotte number 2 picks in the past? It was not great.
Yeah. I mean, Alonso Mourning had a good career.
Alonso Mourning rules, but I was more concerned about Emeka Okafor and then really badly Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who I was actually I was really into Emeka Okafor, and I was Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I would have made both those draft picks. In fact, I'm pretty sure if I went and looked at my big board, I'm going to do it right now. I'm pretty sure I had Emeka Okafor over Dwight Howard. In the first draft I ever fan scouted, I had Emeka Okafor 1.
Oh boy.
Dwight Howard 2, Andre Iguodala 3. Honestly, I like Andre Iguodala 3 was a great pick.
That was solid.
I had Sean Livingston 4, and that also kind of worked out. I had Andres Biedrins 5. Kind of
Biedrins was good for a couple of years before he forgot how to shoot free throws.
And then just had this total collapse of confidence into mental health kind of thing. Yeah. Wait, was that was the J.R. Smith draft? I was really low on J.R. Smith. I had him at 18, one spot below Rafael Araujo, who I had at 17, and David Harrison at 16. Wow.
I have no idea who David Harrison is, I'll be honest.
He got drafted by Indiana. He was a solid. I don't remember where he played college basketball. Again, this is the year 2004, and he was just like a 7 foot back to the basket solid big man. Which back in the year 2004, I was like, yeah, that's a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that lasted all the way up until Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, Jahlil Okafor kind of killed it. But I mean, big men who are really bad on defense and can't jump were always bad in the NBA. I mean, they were more playable in the past than they are now. This was never like a high level player.
You skipped the playoffs this year.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about Nikola Jokic.
Jokic is good on defense.
Oh yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Jahlil Okafor is like major red flag liability. Jokic was bad, but I don't think he was ever at that level.
Yeah.
Early, even when he was younger.
I'm trying to look at what draft was Jahlil Okafor.
2016, I think.
Okay. I had him at 8th in that draft, which still feels high, honestly. Like, you know how hard it is to drop someone a ton of spots when they're like a consensus top 5 pick?
Yeah, he won a title in college, and he was the best player on that team.
And he had such
as a freshman. That never happens.
He has sick hands too. I still when I think of Jahlil Okafor, the first thing I think about is how great his hands were. When I picture someone catching a basketball, Jahlil Okafor catches a basketball at a level rarely achieved by anyone in the NBA. Just you throw that anywhere inside the paint, Jahlil Okafor is just getting those mitts on it, and that's how I couldn't drop him any lower than 8, even though I was really, really low on him. I really didn't like him in that draft. I didn't like D'Angelo Russell. All right, the pick is in for Portland.
It is Scoot Henderson.
Well, yeah, that was. And it looks like Houston's going to pick Amen Thompson at number 4, which I'm into that pick.
Okay, so things are going chalk so far. Depending on whose mock draft you're looking at, I suppose.
Scoot has an insane suit. It is bedazzled. That is one of the more bedazzled suits we've seen in the NBA draft. I wish I could think of some more bedazzled suits to compare it to, but I want to say this is I
don't even know what that is on his suit. Is that? I mean, it's obviously some kind of pattern, but what are they trying to display?
I kind of like it. Yeah, he kind of looks like a movie villain or something in it.
Yeah,
I kind of like a Spider-Man bad guy, and the big bling over the buttoned unbuttoned top shirt. It's a flex.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think so far, Scoot's got the standout fashion of the night. I think that's a really important thing to track on draft night. Is what people are wearing, and I'm giving Scoot made a edgy pick, but that's what I want to see on draft night. I don't want he's wearing a nice, clean, well-fitted black and white suit. I want the bedazzles. I want spectacle. So Scoot, you've got my vote so far for best suit of the night. He looks terrifying.
I just really hope we keep him, man. I mean,
yeah,
people were talking about like if they keep the pick, then they're gonna trade Dame, but like that's not necessarily true. You know, you can sign a rookie and trade him. So I don't know where things are gonna go from here on out, but I just really hope we keep him.
You have not been super high on Scoot in this draft process, right? Is that fair to say?
I don't know if I would say that. I definitely think there's multi-time all-star potential there. Maybe cautiously optimistic is more the appropriate word.
Say again?
I just said maybe cautiously optimistic is the better way of phrasing that.
I think the upside with Scoot is like what if he's like, I'm Russell Westbrook, but I'm not like a fucking idiot.
I mean, Russell Westbrook was really good for a long time too.
Yeah, and what if Russell Westbrook wasn't a fucking idiot? Like what if what if we're looking at a guy who has this kind of like,
what if he
averages
worked on
a triple
his
double and like isn't the worst high volume 3-point shooter of all time?
Like what if he didn't take bad shots and worked on his off-ball movement and off-ball defense?
Yeah. Just didn't have those. I don't know. I feel like Scoot kind of has that potential. I feel like he's got,
I mean, that's better than that's like an MVP level player, but even better. So
obviously,
that's what I'm thrilled if that's the outcome.
I think like I'm not saying I'm predicting Scoot's going to be that. I'm just saying like that's what his upside is, in my opinion. Like that's like the best case scenario is an all-time player.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm a little bit surprised that he wasn't like a no-brainer top 2 pick.
And as small as he is, 6'2",
6'2" with a 6'9" wingspan.
Yeah, he's got a very plus wingspan, and he's a great athlete too. So I mean,
and the one thing I like about
potential there
with G League Ignite players, we don't have to do the like, what is this guy's size going to look like in the NBA? Like sometimes we like, like a player like Jalen Williams last year. It's just like, like kind of a big guard in college. Then we see him get into the NBA. It's like, he's huge. He's playing power forward. He's like, that doesn't like the G League Ignite. We know exactly how big these guys are. We watched them play against NBA sized bodies. Like Scoot looked like big enough to do whatever he needs to do. Yeah, the G League Ignite, and I don't think that's going to change in the NBA. I'm not saying Scoot's going to be Russell Westbrook without the warts, but I do think like if you're excited about Scoot, that's the ceiling right there. Athletic force with like a ton of game.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm really excited to watch his rookie season. I'm tempering it a little bit, I guess, just because we don't know what's going to happen with Dame. As excited as I am about like Scoot's ability to just be an awesome offensive player and not a liability on defense, that definitely goes down quite a bit if he's sharing a backcourt with Lillard or Simons. So,
oh my God, Portland, you got to do something. Portland is the most existential crisis team in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean we're up there.
Yeah. Well,
our fellow top 3 lottery buddies in Charlotte are kind of in a similar sort of boat right now.
They're not existential crisis. They're just like they're bad and they've been bad forever, and like
they're bad and they know they're bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlotte's a bottom 3 franchise in the NBA, like all time.
Yeah, I mean this iteration of the Hornets haven't been around super long.
The pinnacle of the Hornets is like the Alonzo Mourning era.
Yeah. And that was a different franchise. That franchise is in New Orleans now.
Yeah, but even counting that, I'm saying bottom 3 franchise ever. Can you guess the other two?
Just like basketball in New Orleans.
Yeah.
The other two, these are got to be like teams that haven't won titles, right?
Yes. Neither of these. No, one of these teams has won a title.
Oh. Is Sacramento the one that hasn't?
Sacramento's not on my list.
Okay. I mean, Sacramento has the Clippers. The Clippers have got to be the other team.
Oh, yeah, but the Clippers have actually just been kind of good for a long time now. It's hard to like. Like they just have kind of like 2 decades now of being sort of solid.
But they never exceed expectations, They generally fall beneath them.
That's not the only. I'm literally just like like overall accomplishments, like aggregated wins and losses, and playoff series wins and playoff series loss, and playoffs missed, and joke seasons, and all that combined. I don't think the Clippers are in here. Sacramento might.
Okay, who's won like a random title and has been terrible the rest of their franchise history?
The Washington Wizards.
That's true, yeah, because they won a title like.
Wes Unseld.
The franchise wasn't that. The franchise wasn't that old when they won a title. They hadn't been around that long.
The Bullets.
Yeah. Amen Thompson is number 4.
Yeah.
So this is going to get interesting at number 5 because up until now, I mean, we knew it was going to be Scoot or Brandon Miller at 2. We didn't know exactly which one, but we knew it was one of 2 selections. I feel like there's more than 2 directions that the Pistons could go at 5. I wouldn't be shocked if they took Whitmore, Oscar Thompson, or Walker.
I really don't want the Pistons to mess this up.
I don't think they'll take Anthony Black just because that's a little redundant with Cade.
But... Yeah, you're right.
So who is not messing it up out of the selections they have available?
I think I'm a huge Jarace Walker fan. I think it's a strange pick for them considering their current roster construction. Like they got to be really high on Jarace Walker and think that he is like going to be a top 3 player in this draft to pick him here because like they've got they got beef stew. They've been like collecting all these bust big men to rehabilitate him. Just like I just feel like they go into next season like they got no wings on their roster. Bojan Bogdanovic is a small ball 4 who can't defend the 3. So it's like how I don't know. It's just like that's a weird like Jarace Walker fits so well in so many spots in this draft, but he does not fit in Detroit unless they're gonna like really make some huge roster moves after. So I would be more like disappointed for Jarace Walker if he landed in Detroit.
So do you want Whitmore or the other Thompson?
I would love Whitmore. I'm fine with the other Thompson. If they went Taylor Hendricks, I'd be fine with that. If they, I guess it's more like looking out for the player. I don't want to see Jarace Walker or Anthony Black, 2 of my favorite players in this draft, go to the Pistons. Like they just don't fit there, and there's like a decent chance that one of them does because they're both around here. Like Cam Whitmore just seems like such a perfect fit. They've got Jaden Ivey and Kate Cunningham as these like play initiators. Like let's bring in a finisher. You don't need him to have high basketball IQ and everything's being set up for him in the backcourt. Like I just think that's a nice fit. Please draft Cam Whitmore. That's what I want. I'm fine with Oscar.
Yeah, I might actually buy the idea that Oscar Thompson is the most talented pick here. In terms of fits, I mean, the Pistons could definitely use more shooting, and I think Cam Whitmore has just a touch more proven shot making ability than Oscar Thompson does. But I mean, neither of them are like proven 3-point shooters.
I'm excited about Amen in Houston. Can I just say, like, if Amen like it can come in and play like minutes and be a real NBA player next year, which is a big if, considering he has not really played competitive basketball, in my opinion, in his life. But like him with all the just like I'd love to watch him play pick and roll with Alperen Şengün and have Jalen Green getting to finish more plays and. Just like whether he's playing small forward next to the current roster they have, or whether he's taking the KPJ role, I'm into this.
Yeah, I mean, I know age has been a big concern with you with the Thompson twins specifically because they're 20-year-olds playing against 17 and 16-year-olds.
Yes, we've never had this,
and before. That's not great.
We just watched 2 20-year-olds bully children for a year, and we're like, okay, now we have to draft them in the NBA. Like, what is?
I mean, that part isn't awesome, but just in terms of like their physical profiles, like they're pretty freaky, on an athletic scale.
Absolutely.
I think they clearly have a pretty decent feel for the game. You know,
it is
even
going to
if
be
they weren't.
Oscar with the next pick, by the way.
Okay. Oh, I'm surprised your stream is ahead of the ESPN broadcast.
I've got Shams.
Oh, he's holding a microphone.
Shams is whispering in my ear. Yeah, Amon's holding a microphone.
Oh, Amon's holding a microphone.
But Shams is whispering in my ear that the Thompson twins are going back to back. Detroit is picking Oscar Thompson at number 5.
I mean, just talent wise, I don't mind that. I think Oscar can play the 3 as long as the shot develops a little bit. He's definitely big and athletic enough, so they can run. You know, he's not like entirely redundant for them.
I'm also excited about Oscar Thompson not going to Orlando and hopefully they don't draft Anthony Black either. Like I just do not want Orlando.
What do you want Orlando to draft?
Someone who can shoot. I want Taylor Hendricks, or I want Taylor Hendricks and Grady Dick both going there. I take Jarvis Walker too. No. Whitmore
is just the best, most talented guy available, though.
Yeah. I won't be upset if they draft Whitmore, but I'm kind of just I don't think it's a great spot for him to land. Like, he needs space to attack, and Orlando gives you no space. Orlando is the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA. Bottom 5 in attempts, makes, and percentage.
Paolo's been working on his corner 3 all off season.
I mean, I do think at some point Paolo's going to be able to shoot better than he is now. I also think Franz can be a better shooter, but what do you? But then we get to Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz, and it's just you got a non-shooting backcourt, you got some iffy shooting wings, and you play a big man. What is Wendell Carter Jr. their first or second best shooter?
Yeah, he's their best spot-up shooter.
And if Cam Whitmore goes there, he's gonna have some spacing duties. He'll be one of the better shooters there. I just think they need shooting so bad. So I would like them to get Taylor Hendricks and Grady Dick in this draft and just completely solve that and move forward from there. But that's kind of unlikely to happen. So we'll see how that plays out.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little surprised Oscar Thompson went 5.
I'm not surprised about any of these guys going. I think I think especially the top 8 guys have potential. I feel to go number 4, number 3.
Well, based on the consensus mock, they do have Anthony Black going to the Magic.
Based on what?
The consensus mock or consensus big board.
Don't do it. You can't draft a non-shooting guard. You just can't afford it. You're just your team. You have to Orlando's ready to move forward. You have It'll be a little bit upsetting.
I mean, this is the point of the draft where if you don't love Cam Whitmore, I think a trade starts to become appropriate here because we're past the guys who have superstar potential.
Oh, can I share this really cute Jonathan Givoni tweet?
Sure.
And Oscar Thompson, born within 1 minute of each other, drafted 5 minutes apart. That is cute.
Wow. That is. Wow, twinsies. I'm surprised that they were born more rapidly than they were drafted.
Yeah. Shout out their mom.
Yeah,
you beat the NBA.
I mean, this is. I think this is pretty good. This is a pretty good case for the best twin pairing ever in the NBA.
Well, they'll have to play first, but who's the best twin pairing ever? The Lopez's? Who am I missing?
Yeah, the Lopez's.
The Lopez's over Morai. We're agreed on that. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty. No, it's if you go back and look, it's the Lopez's.
Okay.
Brooke Lopez is probably the best member of a set of twins who's ever played in the NBA.
Man, what were those twins that went to Kentucky?
Oh yeah, the Harrison twins.
Harrison, there we go. Andrew and Aaron. That was
they were supposed to be good. I mean,
let's hope Allman and Oscar can have better careers than
well, Andrew and Aaron, I mean, there's a drastic chasm of athleticism gap we're talking about here between
absolutely, but they were still seen as big. They were still.
I mean, they were guards that were huge. I feel like that's part of the reason why they're so dominant in college. Is you get 6'6" point guard and shooting guard going up against high school kids.
We have mentioned a lot of Harrisons so far. We've mentioned Andrew, Aaron, and David Harrison.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about David Harrison.
Yeah, we're killing it. We're representing
no relation.
Harrisons. Yeah, I mean, not as far as I know.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like the Longs in football. There's the Long brothers, but then there's another guy who's playing at the same time who's also named Long, but no relation.
Do you think that that Mama Thompson just Mama and Dada Thompson just sat on the couch? Like they didn't have to leave the couch for the interviews.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean the couch, is it the same couch? I mean, it's a blue couch now. Was it blue earlier?
I think so. Do you think they like stood up and sat back down, or whether they just like they kept their seats and waited for their next son?
Well, Mama did, because she went out to hug Asar.
Their dad looks like the same age as them.
Yeah, I know.
Like, how old is that dad? Like, he looked like I was like, who is that? Kason Wallace? Like, who is that guy? Like sitting on the couch.
Yeah, it's like T. Morant.
Yeah, that's true.
Although sometimes it's hard to tell T. Morant's age because he's always wearing the shades. But
yeah, big win for the Thompson twins in terms of their decision to like take this really unconventional path and still be both top 5 picks in the draft. That's a big win for the OTE Elite or whatever that league is called.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think things would have been different had they played college basketball or G League.
No, but like OTA Elite gets to market the Thompson twins forever now.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the league was kind of built to showcase them.
Still, but like for future prospects, like they get to we're going to build to showcase you. Like, come to our league, kind of thing. Like big, like they're like somewhere there's a meeting of OTE Elite executives, like, you know, rubbing their palms together and like feeling.
I'm not sure it's that kind of league yet. We're still very much in startup territory with them.
But this is what takes you out of startup territory in their minds. I'm not.
Oh, there it is. Your favorite player, Anthony Black.
No,
is going to the Magic.
No, what the?
They have their point guard. Yeah,
I think Anthony Black is really good at basketball. In the 6th pick in the 2023 NBA draft.
Everyone can tell Ian's just the biggest Markelle Fultz fan ever. Just crushed right now.
It's not even about Markelle Fultz or Jalen Suggs. It's about like, how does Anthony Black pair with Franz? Like it's all about Franz and Paolo. And does Anthony Black fit with them? Like I think it's tough. Like, I just like to have 3 core players
that can't shoot.
Yeah, I mean, Franz can shoot. Franz is gonna be fun.
Well, yeah, they're all super young.
Franz just shouldn't be their best shooter, and that's like whatever. I mean, if you think Anthony Black is really good, I don't disagree with you, and that's why you pick him. So I love to see players go to good situations that will allow their game to flourish in the best possible way, and I don't think this is it for Anthony Black, but I like Anthony Black and really like the Magic.
Anthony Black in college, he's over 70% from the free throw line.
He has really good touch. He has good shooting touch. I don't think his jump shot is like I don't think the book is written on that.
No,
I think his touch is really nice as a scorer.
I think he'll become a decent shooter. I mean, is he ever going to be about 40% pull up 3-point shooter? Probably not, but you know, I think he'll get somewhere.
His form is so bad right now, and he has no confidence in it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch, but I would have
he's really big and he can get to the rim, and he's a really good playmaker.
And the defense.
He's also really skinny. Wow.
I think he's the best passer in this draft, and I think he's the best point of attack defender in this draft. Mm-hmm. So I get why Orlando drafted him. I'm just stressed about their lack of shooting.
Yeah.
So much. I mean, Anthony Black.
You have to imagine Orlando's plan right now is they're just not super worried about being competitive yet still. So they're probably they're hoping they can develop some shooting rather than draft it. That's obvious. But also they're probably hoping that Grady Dick is still around at number 11.
All right, so now it's Anthony Black, Grady Dick, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, and whoever the fifth player is.
In 3 years from now, if their jump shots start to develop and come along, I really like that lineup.
I mean, rules they're huge.
Yeah,
and none of them are hopeless as a. Oh, I've got some.
Pick us in. You got some Shams news?
It's going to be Koulibaly.
That's 7.
Yeah.
That's really high. I mean, I wouldn't have been shocked if it was like 9 or 10, but
there's a trade though.
Okay.
Should
we hold off until it happens, or do you have all the details already?
It looks like Indiana is drafting Koulibaly and trading him to the Wizards.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know for what.
The Wizards have number 8, so is it just a swap and the Wizards give up a few seconds or something?
I don't think it would be a few seconds. When you're trading around the draft,
that's weird to trade up one spot, because then the team that's right ahead of you has got to be threatening to take the guy that you want. Like they're basically blackmailing you, right?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what it is. And there's like, okay, you want Koulibaly,
unless the Wizards aren't trading number 8. That's the only. I mean, that would make more sense if the Wizards are giving up something else.
I'd be really surprised to see Indiana being this young and trading out of the lottery.
Well,
Indiana really. I think Indiana wants Jarris Walker.
What kind of assets do the Wizards have outside of the number 8 pick that Indiana would be excited about?
Oh, I can't talk about the Wizards right now. They're too weird. I'm assuming I do think that's going to be the 8th pick, and I think Indiana wants Jarris Walker.
Yeah, I mean Jarris Walker makes a ton of sense for them.
And I just saw that picture of like Jarris Walker hanging out with Larry Bird and Rick Carlisle, and I'm just like I don't know. It's like, yeah, this looks like this just makes too much sense. I love the idea of Jarris Walker, Miles Turner, Tyrese Halliburton. I just like the mix of offense and defense there. Is like
number 7 is so high for Koulibaly.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him too, but what have we seen from him? He's super young and he's really tall and a good athlete, right? And that always has promise. But what have we seen from him other than being like a really good perimeter defender who had a really hot shooting couple of months from 3?
He just got drafted by Washington. Like, he's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, what? Let's rail off some Washington draft picks, like Johnny Davis, Denny Avdija. Who else went to Washington recently? Like, it's like, if Washington's making the pick, you should be worried about your career.
7'2" wingspan.
Oh, I think Koulibaly is a really interesting prospect. I'm kidding right now. Like,
yeah.
I'm surprised.
It's not that I think he'll be a good player. I just like, good complementary piece is kind of, I don't know. I feel like we're still early enough in the draft. You got to swing for the fences, not take the guy who's going to be the next Mikal Bridges at his ceiling.
Okay, so the Pacers are trading Bilal Koulibaly to the Wizards, and it is a pick swap. I don't know what. The Indiana will receive future second-round picks, like you said, and the number 8 selection. So basically, they wanted Jarris Walker, and they found out Washington wanted Koulibaly, and they were like, "All right,
we're going to take Koulibaly."
Yeah, give us a few second-round picks.
One of those deals.
Yeah,
I mean that's dumb. The Pacers weren't going to take Koulibaly. I don't think.
Oh, you think the Wizards should have called their bluff?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think people there's an art to taking advantage of anxiety on draft night.
What are you doing, Mike Winger?
Yeah,
the young GM getting.
Also, how does Washington still have second-round picks to trade after the?
They just got $1 million of them from.
Oh, Phoenix. Right, sorry. They just inherited every second-round pick in the world.
Phoenix traded them 6 second-round picks.
Yeah, and pick swaps, which is pretty funny considering like when will Washington ever win an NBA game again?
Oh, I think Phoenix is going to be terrible in 2023 or 2030.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
that is a long way down the road. So,
Will they be worse than Washington? Is really the only question, right?
not if Washington keeps falling for stuff like this, probably.
Oh, I'm really excited about Jarris Walker. I don't know much. It's hard to talk about Coulibaly in Washington right now because
even at 8, I really don't love the idea of Coulibaly.
Also, just like we don't know what
wrong.
Washington is, so I can't like talk about like how he fits, or like I have no idea what Washington's team is going to be like. So, like Coulibaly will be in Washington, and that will be something. But the Pacers drafting Jarris Walker, that is fun. That's a very fun pick. I'm excited about that. Like, I just think they've got cool offensive and defensive pieces. Indiana was also kind of good last year, like when they were healthy.
Yeah.
I think Matt
when Tyrese Halliburton was playing.
Yeah. They got shooting. They're adding more defense, like because they were just a really good offensive team last year, and their defense was bad. And I think that Jarris Walker can come in and immediately pair with Miles Turner to make a pretty good defensive front court. And I don't know. I think Indiana's kind of gravy right now. They're still light on the wing, but I like the direction of it and have fond feelings about Larry Bird and Jarris Walker like holding up. Did you see that picture that I'm talking about?
No.
It was just like Jarris Walker was working in Indiana, and it just like it's just a cute picture of them like reaching out, like they're about to like give each other a fist bump or something like that. But it was just like, oh, you look like you're having fun hanging out with Rick Carlisle and Larry Bird.
Looks like it is going to be Jarris Walker.
Yeah, it's reported by Fisher and Woj and Shams at this point. So it's,
I love it for Indiana. Indiana needed size. They needed defense. They needed versatility.
Yeah. So still on the board, we've got Cam Whitmore, which was the expected guy to drop.
Who I still feel is just going to be a lot better than the two guys in front of him, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, well, I mean, like he definitely has more like offensive upside than Jarris Walker. I'm not sure if I'm ready to say like definitely better, but I like Coulibaly over Cam Whitmore is an interesting one. I'm not sure I see that kind of sky high potential.
I hate it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I've definitely been wrong before. So
yeah, Coulibaly.
As someone who's I'm rooting for the best in Washington, and
I Coulibaly at 19.
Yeah, I mean, I had him like mid-teens. I just think there's such a thing as, a guy who, like, he was really bad from 3 last year, and he had a really hot end to the season this year. I'm also just like skeptical of like a really young and athletic player who shares the court with like an awesome teammate. In Wembanyama, I just feel like you're getting less defensive attention that way.
Yep.
Like if you watch the Coulibaly highlights, a lot of those threes are not even remotely contested. And they need to be because he takes a while to get the shot off. So
yeah. I don't like. I don't really know what his NBA game is going to be like yet. He's like, I think the exciting thing about Coulibaly, if you're drafting him, is that he's kind of a blank slate. He's got a lot of potential.
Yeah,
a lot of different areas.
I mean, he's young, he's long, he's a good athlete. Like he could be a lot of things, but
and there's no like big limitations on his skill set right now. It's not like his shot's broken or like he has no handles or like. Yeah. I get it. I'm just it's high. But it's the Wizards. I wish they'd reflect the when they know it's a trade in advance. I wish they would like do it.
Give them the right hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm tired. Suspending my disbelief. Oh, I really love Jarris Walker's game. Give me some defensive highlights. There we go. Yeah.
You think the Jazz will take Whitmore? 6, 7 and 3/4. I feel like you could give him the inch.
Yeah, I do think they'll take. I do think they will take Whitmore. I don't love the fit there because this team really needs a playmaker. I would have loved Anthony Black in Utah. I feel like Markkanen and Whitmore are like similar players at different positions. But whatever, stock up on some monstrous,
because all they do is finish plays and not a whole lot else.
Yeah, all they do is like attack the rim and dunk and shoot it and they're like decisive attackers. Those are the kinds of players that need a little bit of organization, but it's not out of the question that Utah finds that player somewhere else. But it's not going to be Jordan Clarkson, and it's not going to be Taylor Horton Tucker, and it's not going to be Colin Sexton. So like they gave up Mike Conley, so they really need a playmaking engine. Mm-hmm. Do we have news on this Utah pick yet?
I don't know if there's a playmaking engine.
It's gonna be Taylor Hendricks.
It is Taylor Hendricks. Okay. I mean, I don't mind that. He's gonna be a really good shooter and like switchable, huge forward who can defend the perimeter for a long time.
There wasn't a team that Taylor Hendricks could have gone to that would have been upsetting, right? Like Taylor Hendricks is
no, because every team can use like a cheap guy who's going to be like a really high level role player for a long time.
Yeah, and Taylor Hendricks feels
he does. Yeah. He does not have the handle to be more than that, in my opinion. And for a guy at his size and his maybe lack of explosiveness, it's very difficult to see that happening for him. So, I mean, I do think we're firmly in like good role player territory at this point, but
I see he reminds me of Jonathan Isaac with a more developed shot coming into the NBA.
Yeah, like a way better shot, like not even close. I'm not sure if he's quite Jonathan Isaac levels of like cyborg arms, but
yeah. Jonathan Isaac was doing some things in defense in college that were like I maybe never seen that before.
Like picking up point guards full court at 6'11".
And doing it really well. And then also like dropping back into the paint and blocking shots.
Yeah.
And like he did that same role remarkably better than like Scotty Barnes did, for example. Scotty Barnes did really well, but like Jonathan Isaac was on a whole other level. And then Baba Miller this year also played that role a little bit, but it's kind of like watching those two guys did it made me like, oh, Jonathan Isaac was special. Like these guys are doing it well. Jonathan Isaac was murdering this. Like, but Taylor Hendricks does have some really big standout defensive attributes.
Oh yeah, no, he's not going to be a liability. Like no matter who he's switched on to.
Yeah.
Even big men, if he can fill out a little bit, I feel like he could survive.
Yeah. What is he like? Ooh, the measurements on.
I mean, he's 6'9", but he's not skinny. He's got some muscle to him.
Yeah. And just loaded the wrong thing there. He's 6'9".
We've taken a pause in the draft for the commercial break. So
with a 7-foot wingspan. So
yeah,
he's doing all right.
Yeah. Almost as long as Koulibaly's.
Koulibaly is a 7'2" wingspan. I get it. 6'6" with a 7'2" wingspan. That is a monstrous sized prospect. How old?
Who else has the same measurements?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Jarris Walker?
No.
I think he does.
Well, maybe, but I was going for repair.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you could have taken him in the 20s, probably.
Yeah, Koulibaly. Yeah, I kind of like.
I'm not sure Koulibaly is a better prospect than Ryan Repair, to be honest.
I think we're both of the same opinion. I had Repair 2 spots ahead of Koulibaly, so. But we've kind of entered into a Ryan Repair. We've kind of bought cheap real estate on Ryan Repair Island, or however the.
I mean, it's a good island to be on. The consensus mock draft was not kind to Repair, so.
Yeah, I mean the thing, like some prospects that you get excited about, end up not even being NBA players at all. So it's like I never like really die on a hill, but yeah, I mean, I got Ryan Repair at 17 on my board. So,
and Repair was playing in the NBL. I mean, that's arguably a higher level of competition than like the French league.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't know how to compare those two leagues.
Maybe comparable is a better word for it.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea. Those are two leagues that I could not stack up against each other because like Victor still played some EuroLeague games and stuff like that and lost in the French league final to like a really good EuroLeague team kind of thing. All right, Taylor Hendricks to the Jazz.
Yeah, he was picked during the commercial break.
Yeah,
the Jokic effect.
You want to know who OKC is picking? Shams is still ruining everything, even if Woj isn't.
I'm gonna guess it's Grady Dick.
You are wrong. You're not gonna like this one, but I'm gonna like this one, so you're gonna be able to guess now.
Okay, hold on. I closed out my consensus mock.
Who do I like that you don't? There's one standout player.
Hold on, I'm pulling up the draft. Consensus mock draft. I feel like my Google search history.
You should just be able to guess this. Like, there's one player that we were really far apart on in the potential top
10. Yeah, Kason Wallace.
Yeah,
man, Wallace over Whitmore.
I'm so into OKC. This is not who I expected them to take, but like, I'm not mad at it. I don't really kind of get what this is how he's going to fit into the rotation, but like, I'm into it. Anyway,
I mean, I get it. I think it makes sense for OKC because they're really low on the low IQ feel for the game guys, and I'm not saying Whitmore definitely falls into that camp, but that's kind of some of the perception around him right now.
Whitmore falling out of the top 10 that's pretty wild.
Yeah, unless the Mavs take him, or the Mavs are probably trading this pick, right?
Oh, sorry. OKC is acquiring Kason Wallace from Dallas at 10.
Oh.
So Dallas is drafting Kason Wallace.
Dallas is trading. So what is OKC giving Dallas then?
Their pick is 12, right?
Yes. So OKC is trading up and giving Dallas a minor role player piece?
Dallas is trading Davis Bertans and Kason Wallace at number 10 to OKC. OKC sends number 12 and a TP, a traded player exception to Dallas as part of this trade to get off the Bertans.
Dallas is just getting rid of salary.
Yeah.
This is more flexibility.
Yeah, getting off the Bertans contract is a good move.
Yeah.
So and they're still in play for Derek Lively, which is what we all want.
I think Lively will still be there at 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially with like Cam Whitmore,
because the Magic aren't going to take him.
Yeah, you're right. The Mavericks are not going to. Yeah, that'd be insane if they took Derek Lively with their roster construction. But I don't know. Crazier things have happened. I'm going to take a quick 1-minute bathroom break and beer refresh, but I will be right back. For all our trillions and billions of viewers at home, you're stuck with Simon for at least 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's fine. Just having to fill air. The stream is, or the stream of the NBA draft that we're watching, the telecast is a solid several minutes behind Shams' announcements of the picks. Even though Woj isn't doing it this year, Shams has filled in nicely for him. So that's kind of interesting. OKC has a few role players that I feel like Dallas could use, but they just take the exception. I guess that makes me kind of wonder if Dallas is planning on trading number 12. Because they can just take on I don't know what Bertans was making exactly. Bertans was making like 16, 17 million, right? Roughly?
Yeah. Big,
okay.
Big old
so Dallas could absorb a salary if they want to trade number 12 for someone.
Sorry,
I mean,
Dallas,
I'm assuming.
say that again.
I'm assuming Dallas could just move that exception right away.
Oh yeah.
So they could absorb a salary at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they keep number 12. I mean, it feels like the indication was they're trading off their pick for like immediate help for Luka and Kyrie, but
no, I just think they've got a target in the draft, and they saw the opportunity to, they did what Indiana did, but with the
there's been a surprising lack of like win now mentality so far in this draft.
Yeah. I think drafting trades are too insane a lot of the time.
Yeah. They're way less common than people speculate, for sure. We always go into the draft being like, ooh, is Portland going to trade number 3? And it almost never ends up happening. So
yeah. Especially the top picks. Like those are hard to give up.
Yeah.
Atlanta trading down and giving up Luka Doncic.
Yeah, especially because that's the most recent notable time it happened, and that ended up being, a disaster. So
yeah, I mean, there was mixed feelings about Luka in terms of his ceiling at the time, but it was like you're getting too cute here because you ended up with Trae Young and Cam Reddish, and you were like, worth it. Yeah. That was the result of the trade down. It was the privilege to draft Cam Reddish and trade him to New York for, I don't remember who they ended up getting, but not a game-changing thing.
Yeah. We were the most recent beneficiaries of the Cam Reddish experience.
Yeah. How was that Cam Reddish experience for you?
He's fine. I don't know. Kind of you can hit a quarter 3 every once in a while. I mean, when he just focuses on playing defense and spacing the floor, he's okay. He's adequate. He's above a replacement level player. But
I think that's steep to call him above a replacement level player. I think he's getting into replacement level player territory, but I don't think he's.
Well, part of the reason why is like the shot selection and the lack of focus on defense.
Yeah.
Like when he came to Portland, he played ball for a few weeks and kind of did what the team wanted him to do, but then he started to, want to take those deep mid-range jumpers again.
Yeah. I wonder right now if Cason Wallace knows that he's going to OKC or if he thinks he's going to Dallas. Like I never know like what these guys know because they're sitting at the table.
Yeah.
They have their phones, they got their agents, so they probably know, right? But
he's got a pretty nice outfit too.
Yeah, what does it say on it? I just see PT.
I'm trying to figure it out. HPT.
I don't know what that means.
Is that a brand?
I hope not.
Oh, we're so out of the loop.
Yeah, I mean, JJ Redick right now is talking about
Kentucky
guards.
Yeah,
and it's like
people keep bringing this up. It's like, oh, the Kentucky players are better in the NBA than they.
No, just the Kentucky guards, not the Kentucky players. Will Cauley-Stein did not overachieve. That's even Karl Anthony Towns hasn't really overachieved.
Yeah,
but the guards, like underwhelming college Kentucky guards, have gone on to have some pretty crazy.
Nick Richards is okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there's like, well, yeah,
Bam Adebayo. I probably should have come up with that name first.
Yeah, that's better than Nick Richards.
And the Harrison twins were not great in the NBA, so
there's a good counterpoint.
There's one example.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the guy. Daniel Orton. Do you remember him?
I definitely remember Daniel Orton. He went to OKC.
There's some hype behind Daniel Orton. I can't remember a guy who ever did less in the NBA.
I mean, there's lots of players who have done nothing in the NBA, but Daniel Orton is definitely one of them.
Yeah. Well, and OKC was so desperate for just anyone who could give you minutes at center at that point, and he still couldn't find the floor.
Yeah. Cason Wallace, I just love the versatility mixed with the aggressive competitiveness and the elite defense. I just think it's even if there's something that one of his skills doesn't pop at an NBA level, he's got there's a lot of different ways I've seen this guy being really successful.
Yeah. My favorite Kentucky guard is Shaedon Sharp.
Hey,
Kentucky legend.
Yeah, he was big in Kentucky.
Sat on that Sat on that bench.
Shaden and Scoot. It's time to trade Dame. Shaden and Scoot era.
I love Dame, but yeah, I'm for it. I mean, I want to see this as the backcourt of the future. I'm really excited about Sharp. I'm really excited about Scoot. I'd be pretty brokenhearted if we traded either of them for veteran help just to make a 6th seed at best. So,
yeah, it could happen. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
especially because like the Trailblazers' current cap sheet situation is just like it just does not work well for acquiring multiple players, and we have
something horrible is happening. I'm sorry. Something really we're both gonna really hate Orlando's next pick.
So I'm guessing it's not Whitmore or Grady Dick.
No, and like it's really sad it's not Grady Dick because it's shittier Grady Dick.
Is this a trade, or it's just a straight up they're picking Hawkins?
Hawkins is a good guess. It's shittier, the shittier movement shooter in this draft.
Is it Keontae George?
Nope. Go
is
further
it
down
Jet,
your draft.
Jet Howard?
There you go.
Oh gosh.
Really? I loved Grady Dick tape so much more than I loved. And I watched so much of these guys.
Jet Howard can't play guard.
Yeah. I mean, the defense with Jet Howard is so bad.
They need a guard so badly.
Well,
they don't need another forward, especially not like a guy who barely weighs 190 pounds soaking wet and couldn't guard the two of us.
Yeah, I really don't like this pick. I had Jet Howard so far down my board by the end of.
Oh yeah, me too. No, the defense is really bad, and I mean this is the direction the NBA is moving in. Like you don't draft guys that are going to be unplayable in a theoretical future playoff matchup in the lottery.
Oh man! Oh well, here it is. Here's the pick coming through.
They didn't even show it on the ESPN thing.
Jet Howard.
Oh, they list him as shooting guard. 6'8" shooting guard.
6'8", slower than molasses shooting guard.
Maybe they consider him the best shooter in the class. I mean, I think the two of us would disagree with that, but
Adrian Wojnarowski's having a bit of a meltdown and having some pretty bad typos, and then like responding to his own tweets to correct his typos.
I mean, the man's like, on a broadcast desk, right? You don't know when the camera is going to switch to you.
Yeah, but I think he's upset that Shams is still breaking the picks, even though he tried to bow out.
Woj is going to take a comeback. He's just going to...
Yeah.
Screw what I said earlier.
I mean, like
coming back with a vengeance.
Woj does not seem like a normal, like emotionally intelligent human. Like I can really picture him being like not being able to handle the fact that Shams is breaking picks and he's not getting into it this year.
Yeah, they do kind of have a weird rivalry.
I sort of picture like Woj as this like would it surprise you if you just found out Woj was like extremely autistic or something? Like I don't mean that like in a negative way. Like I think he's like extremely high intelligent, extremely low social skills. Like even when I listen to his podcast and like watch him talk to other humans, I'm just like, this does not seem quite like a two humans talking and having a nice time sort of thing. Like he's got a manner to him, and I can picture him like getting really bothered by something that someone else might not care about. I don't know. Woj is a mysterious character. Same with Shams. Like I don't really even know Shams' personality. He's just like a robot.
Yeah, I mean he works, like 22 hours a day and doesn't take weekends and has two phones, so he can charge one while he's using the other one. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hope it's an enjoyable lifestyle for them.
At least Jet Howard can shoot. I really don't like this pick because I don't believe in Jet Howard a ton, but like at least the Mavericks drafted someone who can shoot the basketball. And because of that, Jet Howard actually now I think has a better chance to be successful because he can be that guy who's indispensable to making lineups work. So even if he's not immediately successful in the NBA, they might just need him to be on the floor to like make things easier on Paolo and friends. And
they might just envision him as like big guard who can space.
Yeah, because I mean, revisiting what we were saying earlier, like so that lineup is now Anthony Black, Jet Howard,
6'7", 6'8",
Paolo
6'10",
yeah,
6'9".
Not bad.
Man, that's a lot of length.
Yeah,
it's a lot of length.
No, it's cute
and
to see.
They drafted a Michigan kid last year too, Caleb Houston.
Yeah, that's true. And Caleb Houston last year was that guy who like wasn't really quite NBA ready, but was like joining a lot of lineups because like he could shoot a bit.
And he was one of those high pedigree high school guys.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb Houston was like a projected lottery pick for a while.
Yeah, like coming into the college season, and then he played, and then he didn't play. Yeah. So.
And then like it didn't play well, but then he still ended up getting drafted in the first round.
Okay, OKC at 12, which I guess is actually Dallas.
Any news? Dallas is going to take Lively.
Okay. I mean the center need for them is obvious. So
I'm glad this is happening. I was worried Dallas would do something weird. Get Derek Lively just catching lobs from Kyrie and Luka and using that gigantic, ridiculous wingspan, and we're gravy. This is going to be a great pick for Dallas. This is the kind of pick that we like here at the Underhand Free Throw.
Well, finally, it's the Raptors on the clock. The moment we've all been waiting for.
That is the pick that I have the least amount of. I have no idea who the Raptors are going to take because no one knows what the Raptors are doing.
From a like traditional roster building point of view, they really need a guard, right? Especially if we don't even know for sure if Van Vliet is coming back.
No,
there's a good chance Van Vliet is gone. So
Gary Trent opted in.
I mean, yeah, they have one guard on the roster, like one legitimate, proven NBA level guard on the roster.
They've done more with less.
But also, it's the Raptors. Like, they might pick Leonard Miller and run him at point guard for all we know.
Yeah, there's been some Dejounte Murray rumors. The Raptors,
right? Yeah, I've seen those.
It sounds kind of dumb. I don't really get it, but who knows? And like, we really don't know whether the Raptors are going to do like a massive pivot or whether they're going to absolutely stay the course and bring back Van Vliet and Pirtle. And just like, that wouldn't surprise me either. So like, I think the Raptors are one of the least predictable teams I can remember analyzing in recent memory.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to go the small guard route. Like a lot of these small guards, Hawkins, Keontae George, Nick Smith, they're still available, but I don't. Kobe Buffkin is maybe the one guy that I could see them taking.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe Buffkin and Grady Dick there's still Cam Whitmore.
No, he's been forgotten.
The Raps?
Cam Whitmore is no longer a part of this draft class.
I think the Raps are going to take Cam Whitmore.
I think they should. I mean, he's obviously the most talented player left.
Not only is he the most talented player left, but Cam Whitmore actually solved some of their roster problems. They have no rim pressure, and Cam Whitmore is like rim pressure incarnate.
He's not anything else, but he's...
Yeah, I mean, he's got like... he counters well with his outside. Like, I think he's a good enough shooter.
Yeah.
He's not a good playmaker. But like the Raps have a lot of secondary playmakers, like Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, who knows if he comes back, are all like good but not great playmakers.
Yeah,
like adding just a must. Like if the Raps get Cam Whitmore and keep their roster more or less intact, I'm into that. And he's not like he's a non-shooter either, so it's not like he's giving this like he's a poor decision maker and defender, which is not the Raps' problems. The Raps are good enough decision makers like good defenders. Like they need rim pressure. Let's get Cam Whitmore to the Raps. That would be I'm into that.
I've always felt like the Raps are your sneaky second favorite team.
I live in Toronto. I grew up in Canada. Like I've been when I really started like watching basketball with friends, they were all Raps fans. I would like sit there and be like, I hate the Raps. I'm rooting for them to lose this game. Like I would like, I didn't even like the Vince Carter era. I was anti Vince Carter. I was a big T-Mac fan back then. I think I was into like KG obviously, and like Ben Wallace and the Pistons. I really didn't like the Raptors, but I've been watching. When Raps fans like come at me online, I'm like, I've watched more Raptors games than you have. Like I watched the Raptors as much as any fan watches their own team. So
it's kind of like me with the Seattle Seahawks here in Northwest. I don't like the Seattle Seahawks, but
you're stuck with them.
I've seen more Seattle Seahawks games than any other NFL team by far.
Yeah. The thing with the Raps is that like I don't always like them. I always watch them, but I've really enjoyed when Nick Nurse started, like when he was the assistant coach and he was coaching the bench mob, and they like unleashed that in like 2018 season with like Siakam and Van Vliet and CJ Miles and Jakob Poeltl and DeLon Wright. I really loved watching those bench lineups. I'm like, this is really fun basketball. These guys play with a ton of energy, a ton of selflessness. They got enough shooting. They got a little bit of rim pressure. They like when they were demolishing other teams' benches, I fell in love with that team. And so as that has blossomed into the Raps culture, that's made me a big fan of this era of Raps basketball. I didn't expect them to win a championship. I actually got to watch some games live in that championship run and stuff like that. Got to like participate in people dancing in the streets of downtown Toronto. So I'll always be fond of that. But yeah, so the Raptors are like, whether I like them or not, I'm definitely watching them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and you grow a bit of fondness just because you can see like the passion of the people around you and how much they're enjoying.
Yeah. I had no fondness for DeMar DeRozan, though. I had no fondness for Dwayne Casey. I had no fondness for, I don't know. There's like a lot of those teams.
Lowry?
I like Lowry.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Lowry before. I like Lowry as a rookie. I liked him in the draft. I like his toughness. I like his versatility. He's like the kind of player that I like.
Yeah. How do you, what are some other Raptors?
I got like my favorite Raptors of all time. I can give you the whole list. My first favorite Raptor was Keon Clark.
Okay.
He played games drunk, and he was
remember him a little bit.
He was the scariest shot blocker in the NBA for like one season, and then he was too drunk to keep playing in the NBA. What
about Bargnani?
I was a Bargnani fan. I was a Bargnani believer.
That surprises me, to be honest.
He like Bargnani for a while, he had this strange like fearlessness to him. By the way, like a Dallas or OKC / Dallas has drafted Derek Lively officially now. But Bargnani came into the NBA and he like clearly did not give a shit about anything. So that made him seem really fearless for a while. And he had a monstrous first step. And he had a no dip 3-point shot release. So like you could throw the ball like 10 feet in the air, and Bargnani would just catch it and not bring it down.
And just immediately shoot it.
It just seemed like this is an unstoppable scoring package. Like that 3-point shot release with the crazy first step that he has, like this is a foundation to build a superstar player on. But then
he
was
just a good scorer for a while.
Yeah, but he just didn't actually care about basketball or winning at all.
Yeah, that's
like true. And it just became more and more apparent. Like what we thought it was fearlessness, it was actually apathy. He just
doesn't care if it goes in or not.
Yeah. And he didn't get any better. He actually just sort of like he got more volume, and then he got worse as he like got closer to his 30s, and it was just like But he tricked me. I was definitely fooled by Bargnani. I really liked Jalen Rose and Donyell Marshall in Toronto. That was like that team was really bad, but those guys were really fun to watch in crunch time because Jalen Rose was actually a very good, like kind of like a really poor man's Paul Pierce. He could like he had like a nice fadeaway and was also a good like passer if he ever drew defensive attention. And Donnell Marshall was low key for a couple of years, just like Rasheed Wallace, just like this like long armed 3-and-D like shot blocker who could bang threes and score over mismatches in the post. Like I really liked watching them.
I feel like the darkest period of the Raptors' history was post Bosch trade, or post Bosch leaving, I suppose.
When it was like Bosch, but they still had Bargnani and they had DeRozan. Bargnani and DeRozan.
No, when Bosch was gone.
That's what I mean. Like Bosch is gone, and therefore,
yeah,
Bargnani's the best player, and DeRozan's coming up.
It was like young DeRozan.
That sucks. Yeah, the years before they got Lowry, basically.
Oh, like Rasho Nesterovic finished out his career in that period of the Raptors.
I liked Rasho in Toronto. Rasho, I mean, because I followed Rasho in Minnesota too, and he was better in Toronto than he was in Minnesota. Like he was a better player. He was like just a player with zero. I remember one time I the first ankle sprain I ever got, and I was coming back from this ankle sprain way too early, and I was playing pickup with my friends in the park, and I couldn't move at all. And I was playing, and I was just like, I'm Rasho Nesterovic. I can't move. I can't jump, and I can't move. So I have to be so judicious in my decision making. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, this is what Rasho Nesterovic is like. He's a giant body that cannot really move it that well. So he has to like make really great decisions. And Rasho Nesterovic is a very like smart, large body with no real skills or athleticism. He could kind of like knock down like a foul line jumper. But he was kind of good in Toronto by Toronto standards. He was not very good in Minnesota. He played in San Antonio for a bit, and like he was the kind of guy like a big body that could get his feet into a help position just in time, kind of thing. Yeah. I like Rasho.
I do not have any significant Rasho Nesterovic memories.
I do. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, that was the period of my life where I still cared a lot more about college basketball than the NBA.
Yeah, yeah.
I was more watching the NBA for like the playoffs and not as much during the everyday grind of the regular season.
The pick is in for the Raptors.
Whitmore?
I'm
gonna be shocked if it's not. I mean, we projected him to fall, but not outside of the lottery.
Shams isn't telling us anything. So we're just going to have to experience this live.
Woj just sent a hitman over to his house.
Yeah. Shams. Oh, Grady Dick.
Grady Dick. Okay. Fills a huge need for Toronto, obviously.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I think Grady Dick is really good. I think he actually low-key has star potential.
So what's the intel on Whitmore then? What's the thing that teams noticed during workout/interviews that they really didn't like?
Yeah, maybe the guy's an idiot, but he's like, who's he falling to at this point, right? Like, is New Orleans or Atlanta gonna get? Like, Atlanta will take him, right?
Does Atlanta need wings?
Yes.
I mean, Atlanta kind of has like decent players at every position, but their wings don't blow you out of the water.
Yeah.
So.
You can upgrade.
Although I think Jalen Johnson is going to be good.
Okay. Grady Dick is dressed like a figure skater in full sequins.
Oh yeah,
like
here we go.
A full sequins blazer. I need to see the front before I really give a full analysis of this. But
he's got some bling too.
I think he's wearing a sequins turtleneck underneath
the sequins blazer.
I am upgrading Grady Dick above Steve Henderson for like best suit of the draft. This is incredible. This is like blinding.
Yeah. Do you remember back in the day where everyone just kind of wore a black suit and they just competed over how oversized the suit could be?
The baggier the better. Yeah.
Or gray suits. Gray suits were in back then.
Yeah. Jalen Rose is a legend from that era. He still wishes he could dress like that. Yeah. This I am look at this. It's the like long 3-button thing. This is an insane. I didn't think Grady Dick would have this kind of flash.
Well, it's not like you can't look at it. There's nothing else on the screen that even matters in comparison.
Also, that he got drafted by the Raptors and he's in red is
yeah, it's perfect. Maybe he knew. I mean, I feel like these guys get promises and stuff, right? So
this is an incredible fit for Grady Dick. Like this is a great landing spot for him. Like on like even if you're just talking about their young players, like Scotty Barnes and Grady Dick is a nice dude. Like that's like the exact opposite skill sets, right? Like those are some complementary pieces there, regardless of like. And then like if they keep OG Anunoby, OG Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes, I like the idea of that.
Do you think they would start Gary Trent and Grady Dick as their backcourt?
I do not think they would do that, but just like a zero playmaking backcourt, and like
the defense doesn't even have to move during a possession.
I mean, like I remember last year, the idea was that like Scotty Barnes and Siakam were going to be the point guards.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it like kind of almost works, but doesn't quite work.
They should have enough shooting to make that work. Like, I don't know. The Raptors weren't as bad as I keep banging this drum, but the Raptors were not as bad as everyone acted like they were. Like they ended up being about a 500 team in a weird season where everyone wasn't that far away from being a 500 team. And like, if they had better shooting luck, they might have been the 6th seed. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, I think the Raptors.
There's a world they go like 49 and 33.
Yeah. And I think they deserve flack for how grumpy and like bad attitude they were about like not having a great season versus like Miami, who sucked just as bad, but absolutely sucked it up and made a finals run and like never really gave up on their sort of like gritty identity, where Toronto got whiny and like all the players and the coaching staff were just like basically just pouting the whole season about like the fact that they couldn't hit a 3-point shot for a while. It's just like, suck it up and wait for the shots will go down. I don't know.
Yeah. But
this is a good pick for Toronto. Obviously, Cam Whitmore would have been more exciting, but Grady Dick is an obvious fit piece. And I'm like, the more I watch Grady Dick footage, the more I'm like, I think most people project Grady Dick as like, oh yeah, he's going to be a good movement 3-point shooter, like a role player that boosts your offense. Like, yes, I think he actually has a little bit more potential than that. I think there's like a 15-20% chance that Grady Dick is like a star.
I just really don't like the fit of Cam Whitmore on the Pelicans.
Pelicans are as weird as at least as weird as the Raptors from a roster construction standpoint. So no idea where this is going. I'm excited to find out.
Wings and rim pressure are their strengths, you know?
Yeah. But also we don't like with the Raptors, like we don't know if they're keeping Pascal. We don't know if they're keeping Fred. Like New Orleans, we have no idea if Zion Williamson is part of the plan or not. Right?
Well, they didn't trade him to Portland, so.
But we don't know if he's going to be healthy, even if he is like part of the
even if he's on the team, he's not necessarily going to be part of the team, so.
You kind of have to build. New Orleans is second Jordan Hawkins.
Dang. Okay, Whitmore out of the lottery. Hawkins makes sense, I think, for where they're at.
Yeah, I'm not a crazy big Hawkins fan, but like I'm a big movement shooter fan in general, and I just think like they help. So
I mean, I'm not either, but like there's no doubt he has an elite skill, you know.
Yeah,
and he has enough size to not be a liability on defense either. So.
Yeah, and I like them adding shooting, so I think this is a good pick. It's just still crazy that Cam Whitmore hasn't been drafted. What is happening? Like, what did you say in interviews, Cam Whitmore? Like, did you go in there? Like,
I don't know how trustworthy this is, but I was seeing on Twitter that Whitmore's really shy and not very personable, and he doesn't interview very well.
To drop like this with the talent he has, I feel like he walked into interviews and was like, "I'm gonna kill you. I will kill you if you draft me. I got a gun."
Maybe he just gave him the double birds and walked out.
What did you do? Like, you're like one of the most explosive players I've ever watched, and and Jordan Hawkins is about to get drafted ahead of you. Like, this is. I knew he was going to fall, but I didn't think he was going to fall out of he's going to fall into the lottery at this point.
Hey, only 8 more picks. We can make it.
What? Wait, to make it to what?
Portland has 23.
All right, I'm rooting for it.
8 more picks. Let's get there.
I need to bring up let's
talk up some like Noah Clowney, Nick Smith.
Yeah. We got
some good non-Whitmore players on the board still.
Actually, I don't have the draft order up in front of me, so I actually don't know what's coming. I'm gonna bring that up right now. so we can at least start kind of discussing like, okay,
yeah,
Atlanta's going to draft Cam Whitmore.
I don't know.
I really need Atlanta to draft Cam Whitmore because if Utah gets him at 16, that is Minnesota's pick, and that's stressful for me.
I just feel like, Atlanta just traded for Bay. DeAndre Hunter, I think, had a nice bounce back season last year. They got some other wings, don't they?
Yeah, I just don't think they're completely married to any of those wings. Like I don't think they're like not going to add a wing because they've got Sadiq Bey. And I'm a big Sadiq Bey fan. I like DeAndre Hunter too.
AJ Griffin had a good season in a lot of people's eyes. I really like Jalen Johnson. I think he's going to be really good. Just need some playing time. The pick is in. Oh, that was for the Pelicans, right?
Yeah.
Hawks are on the clock now, officially.
Yeah.
So I guess the Mavs aren't going to use their trade exception tonight.
Sham says they're shopping, like they're like active in the trade marketplace to use their $17 million exception to acquire a player and a current / future pick, sources said. So it's a big trade exception. $17 million is something you can really do something with. So
yeah,
I don't know who the potential trading partner is there. That's not something I'm going to have off the top of my head, but like,
who's in that range that is potentially movable? Kind of like $15 to $20 million range.
Yeah, I would have said like, 15 to 7. I don't know. There's a lot of players in that range. It's like a
OG Anunoby.
I don't think Toronto wants to trade. I don't really like. I get that every team wants OG Anunoby, but I don't understand.
No, I don't think. I don't think he's moving. That's just like the name that pops into mind when I think of guys making like around $18 million.
I think like he's mentioned in every kind of concept because he's the kind of player he is so valuable. But that's like, so why would Toronto trade him?
Yeah,
that's why the last trade deadline people like OG Anunoby's asking price was just like, yeah, give us like 4 first-round picks, and people were like, that's too much. He's not even a star. I'm just like, well, everyone wants him. That's like when everyone wants the player that you have. That's what you said. Like, okay, so give us something ridiculous or no, because we also want this player. We also want the best wing defender in the league who also like shoots 38% from 3 and can shoot threes off the dribble.
Man, Nicholas Batum is making $19 million this year.
Yeah, he deserves a payday.
Batum?
I mean, like he's been underpaid at different parts in his career. Like he took a couple of like minimum contracts, but it's Clippers, and gave big value. Right. Like,
no, I'm just trying to look for guys who are making around this range.
Atlanta's taking Kobe Buffkin.
Okay,
which is a good pick, and Cam Whitmore's still on the board.
Yeah.
And Utah,
Jonathan Isaac. I don't think he's even going to play this year necessarily because he got hurt again, but. Smart was already traded.
That trade's crazy, eh? Marcus Smart being like sent away from the Celtics just feels like he felt like a legacy player in Boston. I like the trade for Boston. I think it's a good allocation of like roster balancing. I think like Kristaps Porzingis, if healthy, is better than Marcus Smart. And also Boston acquired first-round picks in that deal somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I think Smart's a lot better than Tyus Jones, personally.
It's a good pick for the Grizzlies too. I think like that's cool.
Well, I'm just saying, like the Grizzlies are upgrading from Tyus Jones to Marcus Smart, and they're giving up a late first round pick, and most likely another late first round pick, depending on what happens to Golden State. But
think of some of the defense that Memphis is going to be able to play next year with like.
Yeah,
John Morant's out, and it's going to be Marcus Smart starting.
I was listening to a podcast where they're kind of debating how much of an upgrade Marcus Smart is over Tyus Jones, and I'm like, I know Marcus Smart isn't the greatest shot maker, but like I think it's a pretty significant upgrade just on the defense alone.
I like Tyus Jones's like judicious decision making a little bit more than I like Marcus Smart's chaotic offensive style, but every other thing tilts towards Smart. Like Smart is just like he's so much bigger, he's so much stronger. He like defensively just does 1,000 things that Tyus Jones will never dream of doing.
Yeah.
I don't like. Yeah, he's a huge upgrade, and I like Tyus Jones. I think Tyus Jones is like a starting point guard in the NBA. I think Marcus Smart is better than him.
Who's up after Atlanta?
Utah from
Utah.
Minnesota.
Okay.
Utah.
Man, speaking of Utah, did you know Markkanen's under contract for 3 more years?
Yeah.
At like the cheap level.
Markkanen,
insane.
the Markkanen pickup was monstrous.
Man, that is such a good contract. It's not even a player option. He's just straight up under contract for like
he was just kind of bad
under
for
$20 million a year.
There's nothing better when a player who's really good is just kind of bad for a couple of years around the time that they signed their long-term contract, and then you have control over that player when they stop being kind of bad.
Yeah.
Larry Markkanen rules. I think he's one of the best finishers in the NBA. Like finishers type players. Like
it's one of the best finished players in the NBA too.
Yeah. I mean, his nickname is literally the finisher, and it couldn't be more perfect. Like
for multiple reasons.
Yeah. He doesn't like he's what Atlanta wishes John Collins was. Speaking of Atlanta, they're about to pick Kobe Buffkin. Yeah. Adam Silver is telling us about it right now.
So Jazz and the Lakers. I mean, I would like to see another trade. I would not be surprised if that ends up happening when LA is up.
Can't believe LA gets a 17th pick and Cam Whitmore still on the board. This is
Whitmore to the Lakers. Okay.
I think Danny Ainge is taking Cam Whitmore unless he really has like damaged goods or something we don't know about.
Yeah, maybe he has a secret. He's missing both ACLs or something.
Yeah, the big dropper last year, in my memory, was EJ Liddell.
Yeah, I mean, second rounder.
Yeah, but
it was kind of silly that he was projected. Like some mocks had him so high to begin with, though.
Oh, I disagree. I was a big EJ Liddell head. So,
according to an Ohio State fan that I heard from, EJ Liddell had like weirdly really terrible side to side movement. Like he just I don't know what it was about his legs, but he just didn't move that well on the perimeter when he was like kind of trying to shift and stay in front of guys. And they kind of saw that as like a mark against him.
I mean, it's really hard for me to like conjure up EJ Liddell footage at this point.
Well, he was a big in college. Like he was a post player.
I watched a ton of EJ Liddell footage like in last year's draft. It's just hard for me to like draw from it. I thought he was a really strong. I thought he had like kind of what Jarris Walker was in this draft. Like I think he was an extremely strong defender, a rim protector who could switch, and had a little bit of like offensive game. He hit a weird offensive game. Like his shot release was really janky. He had this kind of pull up game that he would get into in the mid post that was like effective in college. We were just like, is that going to be anything in the NBA, or is that literally like nothing?
Yeah, well, he is going to be an effective rookie this year for the Pelicans.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna get minutes, I mean, like if he plays, I don't think he has a guaranteed contract. Utah's taking Keontae George.
Wow,
Cam Whitmore still on the board.
Okay, now we're officially in the camp of guys that I definitely have serious questions about. But I mean, we didn't interview or work out Cam Whitmore, so
no, we did not.
Maybe there's something teams saw that was like, ooh, big red flag.
All the like on my big board, everyone has been drafted except for Cam Whitmore.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he has like no peripheral vision or something. Just trying to think of like,
what's
some sort of weird condition someone would have.
And how is this like news not been out that like? So yeah, still no Cam Whitmore, Nick Smith. I mean, Keontae George got drafted. Bryce Sensabaugh, Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Cam Whitmore tried to slip into the DMs of every GM's mom.
He's just too sexy. That's the problem. Like GMs are worried about, they're just like, they're worried about their marriages if they draft Cam Whitmore.
Yeah, might have another Udoka situation on their hands. The Rockets should take Cam Whitmore, just, manage both those guys at the same time.
We have no insight on why Cam Whitmore hasn't been drafted, so I can't really. Leonard Miller still on the board. At this point, I'm just going to assume Cam Whitmore is going undrafted. So.
Oh no! I mean, he's going to. We have the whole second round ahead of us. We still have half the first round ahead of us.
So. Undrafted. It's happening.
I mean, at some point, no matter what sort of serious behind-the-scenes issue a guy is dealing with, a team's going to take him.
So Victor Wembanyama is being interviewed right now on the, by the panel or whatever. And I love Victor Wembanyama. I'm extremely excited about the future. Did you listen to the JJ Redick? He's talking to JJ Redick right now. Did you listen to the JJ Redick Wembanyama podcast?
I did not. No. Is there a highlight?
There's like the whole interview is actually really good, and Victor Wembanyama is a very interesting guy to listen to. He's he's sort of spiritual and emotionally mature for his age. But also there's this funny vibe of JJ Redick and Tommy, what was his name on that podcast? Just sort of
Tommy Alter.
Yeah, Tommy Alter. Just being like, man, you're so free. You're so it's like two normie dads talking to an excited first year university student who just took a philosophy class for the first time, and they're just oh man, you're such a, I've never met anyone like you. You're just he's getting a little bit too much credit for being kind of just at the end of the day, we're still talking about a 19-year-old who's feeling life, and as the only, but what's more interesting about him is oh, what's it like to be the only person ever to be what you are?
I mean, it's like they've never met a non-American who has interests outside of basketball before.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being JJ Redick. You're just you're such a jock, right? JJ Redick is one of the best new members of the media in quite some time, I think. But he grew up he's a white collar athlete, just sort of all he knows is basketball. He's growing well rounded in his old age, but it's just man, look at this guy who just talks about stuff and has interesting dreams, and I've never thought about anything except for basketball and what to do with my money.
Waking up at 5 a.m. and drinking my protein shake and going to the gym and getting up my 500 shots.
Yeah. When I had my second child, I decided I was going to get into going to vineyards with my wife. That was my big spiritual awakening. JJ Redick, I'm not hating. JJ Redick is great. I love him as I think he's one of he's a total elite tier media member at this point. I think he's got good basketball insights. He knows what it's like to be a player and actually uses that information for good rather than chaos. And but I was laughing a little bit at that interview where they were so impressed by this teenager and the originality of his mind.
I mean, to be fair, it is probably cool compared to the type of guys they're used to interviewing.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I just remember Brian Windhorst, the first time he went over to France to visit with Wembanyama, he was shocked that Wembanyama read books. What is this kid? We're on the train and everyone has their phone out and he's reading.
That was kind of what it was like with Jaylen Brown. He played chess or something like that, and people were just he's too smart for the NBA. He's a genius. He has actual thoughts.
Yeah.
The bar can be low for the athletes. I hate to say it, but it's true. But JJ Redick, his podcast, he's probably one of the best interviewers in the NBA media landscape. I think I think his ability to speak from a player standpoint and also be pretty candid.
Get players to open up.
Yeah, I think when someone pops up on the JJ Redick podcast, I'm like, oh, that's the interview I want to listen to versus something else. Yeah. Are the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, Keontae George. It's official. I don't know. I mean,
this pick sucks. I hate this pick for Keontae and for the Utah Jazz. They got a million.
I was just gonna say we both hate on Keontae George too much, so maybe we should say something positive. But
well,
this pick sucks.
Okay, well, I want to say Keontae George's suit is gorgeous.
Yeah,
I love this. Like it's like silver and mahogany, maroon with these like silver waves going through it, and he's got like an interrupted kind of pearl necklace instead of a tie. This is a top. This might be the best suit of the night. I might put it above Grady Dick's crazy sequence turtleneck look.
I don't know if I'll go that far, but I definitely think it's a more coherent outfit.
I like the color combination too. I think the silver and the mahogany really slap.
I like the wristwatch. I'm always a fan of a guy who can pull off a wristwatch.
I think Keontae George has like one of the highest ceilings that have a certain tier of guard in this draft. Like, I think like I love it. I think he's got big time scoring and playmaking potential, and I don't think his defense is atrocious.
He's not just a scorer. I think that's the big thing with him.
And he's confusing because like he wasn't really that good in college. Like, so sometimes I don't really get what we're talking about with him. But when I look at the tape, I see some big time potential in a lot of areas in the game. But like I'm looking at him now, like this guy looks like he's 14 years old. Like,
yeah, he's young. Well, 19, I think, but yeah,
he's older than 14. You can confirm this.
I mean, he's being drafted into the NBA, so yes. I'm assuming someone has looked into it.
Yeah. Yeah, we never got a wingspan on Keontae George either. He's like,
oh, we didn't?
No, so but I mean, yeah, I do really like I like the tape. I kept Keontae George sort of high on my draft board as I dropped Nick Smith down. So yeah, I'm into the potential still, I guess, but I don't think this is a bad pick. I just think that Utah has a lot of Utah has Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson and Taylor Horton Tucker Jr. And it's just like I hope that Keontae George gets an opportunity. Yeah, if I was him, I would be a bit disappointed going to Utah because of just the roster construction. But hopefully they prioritize him and his development. And he's a better playmaker, I think, than like Colin Sexton is, for example.
Well, Colin Sexton is theoretically on the trading block. I mean, I don't know if anyone's gonna go hard for that one, but
yeah, I don't think there's much value there.
I don't think Utah's holding on to him too tightly or viewing him as their part of their future plans.
So we are at the Lakers now.
The Lakers.
And no new news on Shams is silent. Jake Fisher hasn't talked in 6 minutes. Bobby Marks hasn't talked in 7 minutes.
No, that's a first.
Yep.
Keontae George, another young-looking dad.
There's a lot of young-looking dads in this thing. I mean, we're just like, we're also.
How do you feel about the trend of like the super short suit pants?
Oh, when they wear it with when they wear it with the sort of loafer shoes.
Yeah, like they sit down and it shows like their ankles and like a third of their lower leg.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a few years ago that felt a little bit like cutting edge. I think it's a dorky young man move now.
Yeah.
I hope my little brother doesn't listen to this podcast because I just went to his wedding and he tried to rock that look, and privately I was like, I get it's fine that you like this, but this is I'm
sounds like breezy.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good, right?
I'm always a fan of like if you're wearing an outfit, I want the outfit to remain consistent. If I sit down or if I stretch my arms out, or like I don't want a lot of movement from the clothing itself. But.
The Lakers pick is in, and it's not Cam Whitmore.
Okay, let me give a guess. I do not have Twitter open.
I need to give you like a clue though, because I don't think like.
Is it a player that's gonna play right away, or is it a young guy?
Potential. Yeah, definitely potential to play right away.
Chris Murray.
He's not going this high. That's you. You gotta give up on that one.
It's not Jaquez, is it?
No, there's a player like this is not a big surprising pick. Like, this player was like getting kind of like mid first round lottery vibes for a few months now.
Hood Schifino?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, I avoided the obvious, and I went around the perimeter a little bit first.
17, Hood Schifino.
I mean, the Lakers need a point guard. I mean, they're not gonna,
Yeah, I had Hood Schifino at 16, so. Okay. And the Lakers have a ton of rim pressure. Big guard. I don't know. He's not gonna. I don't. Well, there's question marks for the Lakers at guard.
The Lakers do not have enough drive in past the perimeter and pull up for a contested mid-range jump shot. Not enough guys in the roster who do that.
I don't like who's got guaranteed contracts in the Lakers next year. Like I feel like a lot of the guys on there.
Yeah, LeBron, AD. Who else?
Like Schroeder's not coming back, is he? Right? Like it's just LeBron, AD, and Vanderbilt. I think that's Mo Bamba, the only guaranteed contract.
Oh yeah, Mo Bamba. Is Bamba guaranteed? No, Bamba's not guaranteed.
Bamba's guaranteed next year. Yeah.
How much of it?
$10 million guaranteed. As far as I know.
Basketball Reference is wrong. Unless it's like mostly guaranteed.
D'Angelo Russell's a free agent.
Yep.
Malik Beasley has a
you forgot about Max. You forgot about Max Christie.
Yeah, that's fine. I can forget about Max Christie.
You think they're gonna bring Malik Beasley back at $16.5 million?
Nope, they're not. And Rui Hachimura has a qualifying offer because he's on his rookie. He's still on his rookie deal.
Oh yeah, Beasley pretty much got benched in the playoffs, didn't he?
Yeah. He's. I mean, he has some value, just like not on a $16 million contract. Lonnie Walker is free agent. Dennis Schroeder is free agent. Troy Brown's a free agent. So the Lakers really only have 4 players and Max Christie.
Max Christie's a player.
I don't like not yet, but he could be next year.
His dad was pretty good.
Who's his dad?
Doug.
His dad's Doug Christie?
Is it?
No.
Is it not?
No. You can't get that. You can't get that. You can't get less like Doug
no, he's not related to Doug Christie.
Yeah, Doug Christie's a legend, but
I can't believe that. That's like one of the few, because usually guys that are a junior, their dads played in the NBA. I feel like.
But he's not a junior. He's just Max Christie. He's not Max Christie Senior.
There's a Max Christie Senior. Yeah.
Yeah, never heard of that junior.
Not an NBA player, but.
Yeah. He's
Miami Heat are on the clock.
Are they gonna get Cam Whitmore?
I didn't know Miami had.
He's undrafted. Yeah, who's
the most Miami Heat player left?
Oh, good question. Bryce Sensabaugh. No, it's gotta be someone with defense.
Leonard Miller.
Yeah, maybe. O.M. Prosper. Olivier.
No, the most Miami Heat player left is whoever's left after this night is over and doesn't get it.
Jaime Jaquez is the most Miami Heat player on the board.
Yeah, probably. I mean, just IQ, toughness.
Yeah. Jordan Walsh. That's a Miami Heat player in my mind.
Oh, yeah. Jordan Walsh is actually pretty sneaky, awesome defense.
Oh, I like Jordan Walsh a lot. I couldn't find an argument to boost him. up super high, but I am in a Jordan Walsh.
Well, we haven't had a trade in a while.
No, but
I'm a little surprised the Lakers didn't trade the pick, but I guess at the same time, like they're pretty cash strapped. Like they need decent players on cheap contracts.
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of that's a bit of a new direction teams are moving in. Like the Nuggets are doing this, right? They're just trying to target a few more late first round picks just for players on cheap deals because they can't really afford to sign anyone.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, are they reacting to Christian Brown, or is it a more like solid, like kind of long-term strategy for that? I think it's a good strategy.
Well, I think when you have 3 max players, you don't have a whole lot of room to operate, and you need guys to fill out a rotation. So the best way to do that is hit on a draft pick.
Yeah, and especially like if like trying to get like 3 of them, understanding like one of them might hit. Like don't expect 1 draft pick equals 1 good player. Like give yourself acquire a collection of picks and like hope and try to hit on one of them, or hope that you try to hit on all of them. But like realistic expectation is you get 1 player out of that, and that makes it worth it.
I hope we don't pan to Cam Whitmore and he's just like in tears. But
yeah, this is like a pretty crazy drop. I remember the last time a potential top 5 pick dropped this far.
Justice Winslow?
This doesn't go that late though.
Yeah, not this late, but the Heat did draft Justice Winslow though.
I mean, there's no need to say that we'll be surprised if a team does not select Cam Whitmore. I'm just getting desensitized at this point. Desensitized, Bryce Sensabaugh.
Whitmore is becoming a standard part of Jay Billis's best available. He's been there for a while.
Oh, we're panning to Cam Whitmore now. He's not crying.
Oh. Okay, so he is going to be on the Heat?
No. They're just showing him because it's like getting kind of awkward.
No, there he is. Oh, he looks ready. Any news from Shams?
No. Sorry, I was
listening to
Woj for a second, so I'm hitting refresh. I called it. Jaime Jaquez.
It's Jaquez. Wow. Yeah. Snuck into the 18. Top 20. I was thinking like early 20s with him, which would still be kind of a jump from where a lot of people had him. But
they're just like, we need the next Max Strus.
I don't think he can shoot like Max Strus can.
No, Max Strus couldn't shoot like Max Strus can when he was drafted, when he was not drafted.
Are the Heat going to re-sign Strus? He's a free agent.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Like, I really don't know how much they value him, or like how Jaime Jaquez over Cam Whitmore. That is why.
I mean, I'm not really. I feel like Pat Riley's 77 years old. I think he's just full win now mode. I don't think he has any interest in 5 years from now.
I just don't like it. All right, so Golden State is it's crazy. There's like LA, Miami, and Golden State is all in this little chunk here.
Oh, Golden State likes picking these type of guys.
They did until their whole youth experiment was the most epic failure.
You think they're burned by that?
We'll find out. We're about to find out.
Okay.
They're mad that they didn't get a chance to draft Jaime Jaquez.
Probably.
All right, so who's still on your board that has not been drafted yet besides Cam Whitmore?
Yeah.
Leonard Miller for both of us?
I had Cam Whitmore at 5, which
I had Cam Whitmore at 4, so you're doing better than me.
Yeah, Chris Murray is the other guy. And Sensabaugh. And Repair. I'm just listing guys that were in my top 20.
Yeah, so I got Leonard Miller, Repair, CD Sissoko. Other guys haven't been drafted yet on my board.
Yeah, we only have 2 picks left in the top 20, so. I mean,
Jaime Jaquez. I do think like he's good. He's gonna be good.
The Rockets would take Whitmore if he's still there.
Yeah. Anything goes at this point.
The Rockets don't care if they're young; they just want talent. So,
I like how Jaime Jaquez's suits. He's got just a nice beige look going. I think it's like it's understated, but
classic.
It is,
yeah.
I think
it's like he's ready for a day at the office.
Yeah. A day at the office in like in a southern state where you want to wear colors. Avoid those navy blues and blacks.
Yeah. It's a very enthusiastic family.
Yeah. Good for him though. I mean, he had an awesome college career. He's a really good player. Just played really good ball. It's great. I do like, especially when you get into this chunk of the first round, I do like to see guys who are sick college ballers get guaranteed contracts.
Yeah. Apparently his sister is a pretty good player at UCLA too.
Oh, nice.
Or she was a freshman last year.
Okay. It's crazy it's so crazy with women's basketball. It's like projecting them going to the W because like they don't just get to come out after the freshman year, right? Like the rules around coming into the WNBA are so drastically different that like a college freshman.
Do they have to stay all 4 years?
I think they have to stay. They have to be 21.
So they have to stay at least 3.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah.
It's like old school college basketball.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes some aspects of the WNBA feel like 60s NBA basketball or something like that, which is like kind of a fun part of it. And like sometimes when I hear like old heads whining about what the NBA used to be like and how they wish it was back, I was like, have you heard of the WNBA? Because it sounds like everything you want. Like all the scorers are hitting tough shots. Like no one's getting anything easy. Like everyone's got to work really hard to get to where they got to. No one's making any money. There's like no star personalities. Like it's a huge, it's more of a team game kind of thing. Like I'm just like, for the like, it's, sometimes those guys are also the most like, not necessarily the most pro women, but I'm just like, the WNBA is for you. Like there is a league that exists that is like your paradise. You just haven't accepted it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of who the Warriors would want here.
The Warriors just acquired Chris Paul.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, like I don't like they're clearly in a funny win now mode. Great of them to get off the Jordan Poole contract.
The most win now player is definitely Chris Murray. I feel like that out of the guys that are left.
I guess, but like, is Chris Murray that much better than like Moses Moody? I don't think they're like. I don't think you like.
I'd think so.
He's taller.
He's bigger. I don't know, like especially in the playoffs this year, we just saw it. Like size is so important defensively. Teams just pick you apart if you're small.
I'm trying to think of them. Who else is Yeah, Leonard Miller, Trace Jackson Davis, James Najee, your boy Julian Phillips, Bobby Clinton still on the board, Bryce Sensabaugh, again, Olivier Maxwell Prosper.
Oh, I'm not an Olivier Maxwell Prosper fan.
He's another kind of strange player that has some big weaknesses and some obvious strengths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just like a big wing who seems okay defensively in some areas, but just doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have the foot speed to guard on the perimeter. And I just feel like if you're guarding an older big wing who doesn't have like an awesome offensive game, at least get someone who's like mobile. But
yeah, honestly, his movement style reminds me a little bit of Kevon Looney, which you think would be a good thing, but like we're talking about like we're talking about a wing. Of a 5.
yeah. Well, Kevon Looney was a wing when he was in high school, so
yeah. Well, I mean, Olivier Maxwell Prosper is like he is a like in some ways a tremendous athlete, and in some ways, he's got some holes in like his athletic profile even more than his game kind of thing, where it's just like you move so well in some ways and so poorly in other ways. So it's
he was one of those guys I scouted weirdly extensively for a probable second round pick, just because I was like, okay, who are the like under the table wings? Because we know some of these guys are going to go in the first round, sneak into the latter half of the first round.
But then wow, Golden State's taking Brandon Podziemski. Yeah, I had him.
The Santa Clara guy.
Yeah, he was on my board, but like a borderline first round pick. I mean, he is like he's got
he's the Dante DiVincenzo replacement.
Yeah, but like he's not defensively what Dante DiVincenzo is.
No, he's just like a smart, heady guard who like makes the right play with the ball in his hands, as far as I understand.
He honestly, from like a more college game perspective, he reminds me more of Malachi Flynn.
Ooh,
which is not thing. No, but Malachi Flynn in college was like, oh, this guy's a baller. Like he's tough.
I know. Smart. I watched him. He transferred away from my school, and then was way better. So
yeah, but he didn't pan out in the NBA. Brandon, I mean, I watched his footage and like I was like, oh, this guy's definitely a good basketball player. It's very hard to project these kinds of players in the NBA. They pop or they do not at all. Like this is kind of a boomer bust pick. Like he's got a super high skill level, super heady player. If he finds a way to make it in the work in the NBA, he'll be good. If he doesn't, he will.
They listed him at 6'6". I mean, he's a lot bigger than Malachi Flynn.
He's not 6'6". What?
That's what popped up on the screen.
Looking for his measurements right now. He's 6'4" with a 6'5" wingspan.
Oof.
There's no size advantage here. Like he's not tiny, but he's not like a interestingly sized player. I have no idea where they got 6'6" from.
But if he's not a great athlete, that effectively is kind of tiny.
He's small.
I mean, Jordan Poole was 6'4", and Jordan Poole looked tiny. So
he can only play point guard, which is like he's not big enough to play shooting guard. Like he's not big enough to be a wing.
Mm-hmm.
So even regardless of whether they list him at 6'6", I don't know.
Yeah. So we have Rockets and the Nets.
I love Cam Whitmore in the Nets. Come on, Cam. We should probably like swear to not talk about Cam Whitmore anymore until he gets
23.
Yeah.
We'll take him. We'll take the basket case.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes.
I'm gonna take another quick bathroom break here as Brandon Podziemski highlights play. You're back.
Watching some WCC highlights here. WCC has actually been a more competitive basketball league lately. You know, Gonzaga isn't the only good school in that league anymore. Man, that really surprises me. Brandon Podziemski was a pretty late riser, though. Not a guy that I saw going in the first round at all until like pretty late in kind of the draft overview scouting process, and then he kind of snuck up there. I mean, you have to imagine the Warriors are probably losing Dante DiVincenzo in free agency because I don't know if they can afford to really pay him much. So, I mean, he definitely fills the need. And also Jordan Poole is gone. Chris Paul is on the team, but Chris Paul is also really old and gets hurt a lot. So... Also, it's Golden State, so, you know, they probably emphasize really high feel for the game guys more so than other teams do. Oh, you're muted.
Have I missed any picks?
Nope. I was just talking about how Golden State probably values high IQ feel for the game guys a little bit more than maybe some other teams do.
Yeah, I was about to mention the guy that we're not allowed to talk about anymore, so I'm gonna think of something else to say. But
is he up at 20?
No, just like the team that could pick him now was semi-expected to pick him at number 4. So
did Jalen Hood-Schifino change between the photo shoot and when he was drafted? It looks like he was wearing like a green suit in the photo shoot, and he was wearing something else when he walked.
I only saw him in that green suit.
Maybe I was thinking of someone else.
Yeah, I don't know. Or like, yeah, no, I saw him in like a bright green suit, right?
Yeah.
I got these commercials blaring in my ear.
What do you think Nets do?
Well, I can't mention that guy. So
I think Noah Clowney makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that pick.
They need bigs.
I could see them swinging for the fences with G.G. Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Haven't heard that name mentioned much tonight.
I mean, the Nets' biggest weakness is just lack of rim pressure / high-level playmaking of any sort.
So if they want rim pressure, their options are my boy Trace Jackson Davis, James Najee as a roll man.
Yeah.
After that, the rim Kyle Filipowski.
He's not in the draft.
Oh, he completely dropped out of the draft.
He went back to Duke.
Okay. Did not know that. I can delete him off my big board entirely. I was wondering why I hadn't heard about him in a while.
Yep, that is why. I was a little surprised. I mean, I think he would have been maybe a late first-round pick, but...
Well, I feel like sometimes when you're like a college, I feel this way about Drew Timme. It's just sort of like I don't want this dream to ever die. Like why do I want to go be a marginal NBA player, or maybe not even make the NBA when I can just be this like rock star in college hoops?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like I'm gonna increase my draft, like when you're like a awkward white dude center, but Filipowski I think has more interesting tools. Like I think he's got a better first step, and
he's a lot bigger than
yeah. Like he's got more NBA potential than I think Drew Timme does. Drew Timme, I don't really see.
Whitmore is going to the Rockets.
Okay, that's all right. We're allowed to talk about Cam Whitmore again. This is obviously
Cam Whitmore is back on the menu.
I mean, this is a big deal for the Rockets, right? Like they just got Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore, like guys who are both in sort of like competition for this.
I'm surprised no one tried to trade up for him, or maybe they did, and the Warriors were like, "Sorry, we really like this Brandon Podziemski kid."
Very clear that no, like people did not want him. Though, I mean, sometimes I kind of wonder our team sometimes unprepared when a player drops. It's like we haven't even really scouted this guy. We don't know who he is.
I mean, it feels to us like these picks are taking forever because it's like 7 or 8 minutes per selection, but it takes a while to work out a trade too. So maybe not.
But I mean, him like not being drafted by Utah, by LA, by Miami, by Golden State. It's just like, they felt like they had their guys earmarked, but yeah.
I'm trying to think of guys who were like awesome in college and fell super late in the draft. I mean, Cam Whitmore wasn't necessarily awesome in college, but like awesome prospects theoretically, right?
Just insane first step strength and verticality. It's just like, yeah. I didn't know a player that. Yeah, again, I'll be interested to hear what went into this drop, because
apparently Michael Redd fell into the late second round despite being a very good player in college.
Yeah, but Michael Redd, like, different. I mean, like, not exactly a crazy high ceiling player.
He was pretty good in the NBA before he got hurt.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you as a draft prospect, you're not like gotta draft Michael Redd. Comparing him to Cam Whitmore, just like.
No, I'm just trying to think of guys who were like mocked top 5 and then fell out of the lottery entirely.
Yeah, like I said,
Rashard Lewis.
That's going back. I can't really remember his draft class. Yeah. I mean, I can look back at my own draft board, but that would only show me like where I thought the guys should be picked. It doesn't tell me what the consensus was at the time.
That's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, finding like someone should post like a here's what the consensus mock draft was every year sort of thing like that. That'd be a good resource just to remember, because like, people do forget like where prospects were ranked, like once their NBA careers actually happen, if it doesn't correlate with their actual draft spot. So someone who was like projected to be a high pick fell and then didn't have a spectacular NBA career. I think that whole story would mostly get forgotten, right? But Cam Whitmore is an interesting pick.
It does not happen that often, so I can't think of a whole lot of names.
Houston now has Şengün, Jalen Green, Amin Thompson, Cam Whitmore. This is like a pretty there's a pretty interesting group of young talent.
Yeah, there was no one last year who was who fell super far. I mean, some people were freaking out that Jaden Ivey fell one pick, but that was not significant.
I mean, I already brought him up, but EJ Liddell was a pretty crazy faller. He was like, because he was projected like, you know, borderline lottery, but like felt like a lock for the first round.
Oh, the second round. James Bouknight the year before.
Oh yeah, see, that's the kind of thing that doesn't register for me because I was so low on James Bouknight in the draft.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, small guard who is a pretty questionable playmaker and has no chance of playing defense in the NBA. I was 100% out on him, but
yeah. Where did Oshai end up going?
End of the lottery, I think.
Okay, that's not a fall then.
Yep, 14. Kai Jones fell a bit. That was another one from 2021.
Yeah, and Keon Johnson in that same draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually kind of high on Kai Jones.
Halliburton.
Where did Halliburton go?
12.
Oh yeah, that's a fall.
He fell and proved everyone wrong. He picked lesser players over him.
I was not. Halliburton was a funny one on my draft. I had him all the way down at 10, which I still feel is kind of embarrassing. I remember watching him and Killian Hayes highlights and deciding that Killian Hayes was more likely to be successful than Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah,
and that did not work out for me. That's actually one of the worst drafts I've ever predicted. Is what year is that?
2021.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyrell Terry is another guy who fell a bit.
What? He was projected high?
Oh, he was projected in the first round, and he fell out of the first round. So,
yeah, I had him at 20. Oh, I didn't. So I didn't mess up. I had Anthony Edwards first, which I still feel good about, but I had LaMelo Ball all the way down at 8.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, The night is still young. You could still be right about that.
I think I'm already definitely wrong with that. I had Kira Lewis Jr. in the top 5.
Oh, he got hurt. Who knows what could happen.
Fair enough. I dropped James Wiseman down to 6, which I feel good about, but I still had him above LaMelo. My top 5 was Anthony Edwards, Killian Hayes, Devin Vassell, Onyeka Okongwu, and Kira Lewis. And I had Alexei Pokushevsky in the lottery. I don't know how embarrassing that is, actually. There's a lot of actual bad draft picks in this draft.
Noah Clowney is the first Nets pick. Makes a lot of sense. I think I had him going to the Nets pretty much all year. I never really moved. Noah Clowney was one guy that never really moved like at all on my draft board.
Yeah, I mean, moving anyone else moves other players. I had Clowney and I actually had him at 31, so just outside the first round. But I think it was a good pick.
The one thing about Noah Clowney is he is really slight. But he's going to really need to fill out.
He reminds me a little tiny bit of like Deonta Davis back in the day.
Oh yeah,
there's a player that dropped like crazy on draft night.
No, for good reason.
He was like getting top 5 rumbles, and he barely got drafted.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Noah Clowney, like high defensive potential, decent looking jump shot. Once we're getting the 20s with these draft picks, I'm like, Noah Clowney seems like a guy who's likely to be a good NBA player. So,
yeah, Nick Smith is still left. That's the other guy I had mocked going to the Nets. I had Smith and Clowney at 21 and 22, so that'd be cool if that panned out.
Still no Leonard Miller. Still no Ryan Rupert. Still no C.D. Sissoko.
Oh gosh, I would love Leonard Miller on the Blazers.
When's your next pick?
After this one.
There's lots of interesting players left. So,
yeah, I don't know who would be better between Rupert and Leonard Miller. I mean, Miller fills a more obvious need if we're keeping the guy around, but
is that the two people you most want to be drafted at this point?
Yeah, I just think highest upside left on the board is those two guys.
Yeah, I mean Julian Phillips is around.
Yeah, it's still a little early for Julian Phillips.
I honestly, when it gets to this point in the draft, like on actual draft night, when we get into the 20s, I feel like nothing feels too high for anyone. Like, there's always some surprises and some drops and some surprise picks. So it completely scrambles my brain to my own ideas of who I thought had the most value. So it's just sort of like at this point, I'm like, go wild, just like.
Oh yeah, I guess the highest upside technically is probably Dariq Whitehead, who's still 18 years old.
Yeah, and Bryce Sensabaugh, and Bobby Klintman. I think Nick Smith. I guess people think he has upside.
Not you. Other people.
I'm just not really sure I get it. Maybe I didn't watch enough of his high school tape or something.
Have you watched how he moves though? I mean, he just gets around people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's like complete garbage. He just looks like a sort of like, there's like, I don't know, are there 40 guards in the NBA that can do what he does? Like, I kind of think there are.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little concerning a guy handles the ball that much and doesn't seem interested in shooting threes or passing, but
I only had his high school tapes. I'm sorry, his college tapes. I don't know what he was like before the injury.
Where did number 23 come from? I'm curious.
Say what?
I'm just wondering where we got this 23rd pick from. I don't remember what trade that was.
New York
from.
Cameron.
This is the Knicks pick. Okay. This is our replacement for Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people were really down on that Hart trade. But I don't know. I mean, I think
For Portland?
Yeah, for Portland.
He wasn't. I really like Josh Hart, but he was not fitting in Portland. I think you've got a player. If other teams value that player still, and he's not giving you value, like trade him for value.
They were trying to have him guard almost exclusively forwards, and he was just like a little mismatched in size. And they're trying to have him be this floor spacer, and that's just not his game.
He also was seemed terrified of shooting in Portland, which is just you shoot the ball, even if I don't know, too many up fake hezzies that no one was biting on, driving into space, and once you're doing that, you're just hurting the offense. If teams are leaving you open, you got to just jack it and hope to go on a hot streak kind of thing. I don't know. I feel that way at a much lower level of basketball. Sometimes I'll be playing with people that can't really shoot at all, and I'll always be just if you're left wide open, just shoot it. You're kind of breaking the offense when you don't do
just throw it really hard and go for the offensive rebound.
And worst case scenario, you just got to rep in. Maybe maybe as the season goes on, you'll be able to shoot them better. But it's just it's just as soon as you don't, and I'm a player I've never been a good shooter and never been a good 3-point shooter, and I jack it whenever I'm just I have to
I'm never encouraging people to shoot it when I play pickup. I'm give me the ball. I'll
get those possessions in, get that usage.
No, I kind of run back and forth and rarely enter the 3-point line.
You're a 3 and D, or do you got the D?
No, just 3.
Just 3.
there's no defensive.
Well, 3-point shooting is a valuable skill.
I used to be okay defensively until I stopped working out and only play basketball very casually at this point. So
yeah. I mean, I'm completely washed. So
yeah, I'm so out of shape. I'm dead 10 minutes in.
Yeah. I've recently gotten back to I'm not in good shape, but I can play a basketball game level of shape. For a while, it was after I had the wrist surgery and stuff like that, and it took me a while before I could run up and down the floor several times without injuring myself. But now I can play okay level basketball again. But I'm just I've only got a couple of years left of this, and I'm gonna try to play half court and stuff like that.
Yeah, my dad pretty consistently played up until his early 50s.
Full court?
Yeah.
That's really impressive. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then he injured his rotator cuff.
Oh,
and it just once you're that age, it just doesn't ever heal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's that.
Dariq Whitehead is the second pick for the Nets.
Yeah. I mean, if you got to pick at 21, 22, go for one safe pick and one swing for the fences pick. I don't think the fan base will be mad about that.
Hopefully he'll be the best Whitehead that's played for the Nets so far.
Who's the other Whitehead that played for the Nets?
Isaiah Whitehead had a brief stint there.
Remind me who Isaiah Whitehead is.
He was a guard out of Seton Hall. I really liked Isaiah Whitehead in the draft.
I vaguely remember this name passing through Brooklyn.
That was a miss for me.
Well, it was a miss for you until now.
You were into watching the Nets prior to KD getting there?
No, I really like that. I really like the Jared Allen, Joe Harris, D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert Nets. They were fun.
Well, I think we're talking about the year before that.
Yeah, no, I vaguely remember.
Yeah, this was existing. Boston drafting Jason Tatum with Brooklyn's pick Nets era.
Yeah. I mean, Boston, it's just so funny that Brooklyn's right back to that era. But they feel it feels like nothing has changed. You change some of the names around, but it's just we're this solid, funky group of players.
I mean, I think they're a lot better than they were in 2017. But
I mean, that team made the playoffs, and
At least they have picks and they have decent role players now.
They get a lot of picks. They
are their own draft picks, so they can't completely control the outcome.
But to me, that would be kind of fun to like have a bunch of draft picks, but not have your own. So like you don't have to tank. So it means like you get to like still try to field a competitive. It just I feel like that would be kind of liberating. Like you get to try to be as good as possible with limited resources, and
gives you extra motivation those nights you play the Suns. You know.
Yeah.
It's like, let's beat these guys, improve our own draft position.
Yeah. Do you think? How good do you think the Suns are going to be
this year?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be a great regular season team. Probably top 2 or 3 in the West.
How do you think they're going to do in the playoffs?
I think they're going to have real weaknesses, playmaking and defensively. And I mean, they're going to have no issue creating like decent quality shots, but I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Yeah, it feels like they're going to be like offensively like a slightly better version of like what we don't
like their absolute offensive ceiling, at least as the roster is currently constructed, is just very good. I don't think there's a world in which they're elite.
I mean, I can picture them being like a top 3 offense next year in the regular season, but not but like not being an overwhelming offense in the playoffs, where it's just like, well, we know what like opponents being like, we know what the defensive assignment is. Like we know what we need to try to take away from you. We know what we can't take away from you. And we're just going to do this and attack your lousy defense.
Yeah, I just feel like they're just a team that's going to be very reliant on one of their stars having a great game or 2 of their stars having a efficient shooting night in order to have a good offense.
Guess who's going to Portland?
Repair?
No, your boy. Your boy is going to Portland.
Sensabaugh?
Nope, your
Murray?
boy. Your
Chris Murray?
Chris Murray is in Portland.
Wow, okay. I like Chris Murray, so I'm okay with that. You know.
Well, now you're literally married to him, so.
Hey, maybe we have the better Murray brother.
You do not have the better Murray brother. That is absolutely impossible.
I don't think it's impossible.
What does he do better than Keegan does? Like
Keegan could get in a car accident tomorrow. Like
okay, all right, you're right.
Not wishing that
in the event that Keegan Murray dies, Chris Murray will become the better Murray brother. But like Chris Murray is 100% Keegan Murray without some of the like physical shiftiness. So, but I don't know. Who knows? Weird things happen. Keegan could lose confidence in Chris Murray. You know, he could do an Andres Biengrins and Chris Murray could avoid doing an Andres Biengrins. But I mean, you know, good on Portland for adding a, you know, potential rotation wing. There's like, you never feel bad about that.
Yeah.
He's not a potential swing at all.
But so I just looked up, I was trying to figure out when Chris and Keegan Murray were born, you know.
Like,
if there's a 1 minute delay there. I'm not finding it, but someone Googled the question, is Chris Murray related to Keegan Murray?
No.
I just feel like you could do the side by side pictures there.
They're identical, right?
Yes.
They're not fraternal twins. They're definitely identical twins.
Yeah. No, I mean they look identical and they have physically they're the same guy.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that interview with the guys who played Fred and George Weasley in the Harry Potter films? And a reporter asked them if they're related. And they're just like, no. We met at the audition.
I didn't know they were twins. I thought that was just one guy.
Nope. Yeah, they're twins.
Okay. I mean that makes sense, but I thought it was one guy just doing it anyways.
No, but the reporter like believed them when they said they weren't related.
Oh my gosh. Every now and then you just hear like people get reporter jobs asking dumb questions. It is eerie to see this footage of Chris Murray and just be like, Keegan, is that you?
Yeah. I mean, he just feel like his brother was there the previous year, so he could just kind of step right into his role in the offense.
He did. He did he was 80% of Keegan Murray.
Now this is like the kind of pick you'd make if Dame's sticking around. Maybe it's the kind of pick you'd make either way. I don't know.
This just increases your Portland Trailblazers existential panic.
We still have no one on the roster who can like play center, but
well, this draft was not going to fix that.
Yeah, not a lot of bigs. I mean, possibly the greatest big ever in Wembanyama, but after you get past that, not a lot of bigs.
Did Portland draft Ishmael Kamagate last year?
I mean, I know he got a two-way from us eventually, right?
Were
you a fan of Ishmael Kamagate?
He was high. I like the footage on him. I was
No, the Nuggets drafted him.
Okay.
The Pistons drafted him, and his rights were traded to the Nuggets.
Okay. All right. Nothing to do with Blazers then.
How did the Blazers get his draft rights? Oh, he was part of the Jeremy Grant trade. Okay. So Pistons drafted him, traded to Portland from Detroit in the Jeremy Grant trade, and then traded to the Nuggets.
Okay. So the Nuggets have his draft rights.
Yep.
Okay.
You're just trying to think of a big that could potentially be on our roster next year?
I mean, beggars can't be choosers, right?
Not sure if Ishmael Kamagate is ready to help.
As Yusuf Nurkic
on one last playoff run. Maybe he might be more ready than Yusuf Nurkic, but
yeah, I mean, I also will the Blazers hit the sort of like center bargain bin this offseason? I haven't even checked to see who's a free agent center they could chase down with a mid-level.
I was thinking of Ibu Baji.
Oh, I like him. I like him too.
He's huge.
Insane athlete.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he can play basketball, but he's an insane athlete.
All right, Olivier Maxence Prosper made it into the first round.
Sacramento?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, why not? Add another wing to that equation. There's on tape, there was some things that I liked a lot about Olivier Maxence Prosper. Great name.
Oh, you got the French intonation.
Olivier Maxence Prosper.
So where's he from?
Marquette.
Well, yeah, I know, but
oh,
I meant geographically.
He's
Canadian.
Montreal.
Another Canadian.
Yeah, there's been a lot more French Canadian basketball players lately. You got Lou Dort and you got who's the Chris Boucher.
Right.
Typically, most because a big a lot of Haitians move to Canada all over the place. Like Haitian neighborhoods kind of just pop up in random towns sort of thing. But New York has Montreal because because Haitians speak French. Montreal is a really good landing spot for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as an immigrant, when you can drop into a big city where you don't have any language disadvantage, is a pretty nice situation. So Montreal.
Oh, there was another French Canadian in last year's draft.
Remind me.
Can you think of him?
Last year's draft.
Haitian descent.
What range of the draft are we talking about here?
Lottery.
What?
I had no idea.
Mathurin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know he was.
I
did not know he was from Montreal until I just.
Yeah. I was really low on Mather in the draft, so he didn't pop up in my lottery. No, he was 40. I had him at 14.
I did not know Chris Joseph was French Canadian.
Why do you remember Chris Joseph?
I just looked. I looked up French Canadians in the NBA.
He had a brother. Chris Joseph had a brother, didn't he? There was multiple Josephs on the Canadian national team, and I'm not thinking of Corey.
Not Corey Joseph?
No, they're not related, I don't think.
I'm not seeing any other Josephs that are from Quebec, but
all right, maybe I'm making that up. It's a sad thing keeping track of Canada basketball. Boston having Marcus Sasser at 25 and trading into Detroit for number 31. Marcus Sasser is not a name. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting one. Mavericks used their traded player exception to bring in Rashawn Holmes along with Olivier Maxence-Prosper. That's a pretty cool trade for the Mavericks, considering that Rashawn Holmes, despite dropping out of NBA relevance last year, is an excellent rim runner. And Luka Doncic, like this is a Dwight Powell upgrade.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, like Dwight Powell's also a great rim runner, but Rashawn Holmes is just
sort of like, Rashawn Holmes is tiny and he's a turnstile on defense.
Yeah, but so is Dwight Powell. Also tiny. Yeah.
Maybe.
Even small. Dwight Powell's even smaller. I mean, like wingspan wise, like
yeah.
And at least like Rashawn Holmes offers you a little bit of rim protection, where Dwight Powell is more of a has a little bit of like switchiness, but can't gives you nothing at the rim.
Maybe Olivier Maxence-Prosper can be their next three named awesome wing, who can provide them a little bit of defense.
Dorian Finney-Smith. Shout out Dorian Finney-Smith. He's a free agent. I wonder where he lands up. I think he should be pretty coveted.
Is he unrestricted?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't be restricted.
Why did the Nets turn down an offer for 2 first-round picks for a guy who was about to be a free agent?
Fair question.
That's a weird one.
Maverick. Okay, so what are the Mavs trading though? No, they're just
just the exception.
That's it. Are
the Kings salary dumping?
I guess so.
I'll concede. I'll pull up Sean's Twitter.
Holmes is making like $12 million, and it makes sense, but like kind of an interesting pick.
Man, Marcus Sasser in the first round, that is really high.
Yeah, he was off my board.
He's a good college player.
I agree. I just didn't see a lot in the sort of like, I just didn't see enough to be like, this is a definite NBA player.
No, I mean, me and you are both in the same camp. We're both very reluctant to like small guards, especially older small guards who aren't incredible athletes.
I'm so biased against them that like whenever I'm watching film on them, I'm like looking extra hard, being like, check your bias. What's here? And Marcus Sasser, I mean, like, yeah, he's a really good college player, but I didn't see anything that I'm like, this is going to pop in the NBA.
Yeah.
So he's going to the Pistons. No, he's going to the Celtics. Celtics are drafting Marcus Sasser and trading the number 25 pick to the Detroit Pistons.
Right, because the Celtics had 25 initially. It's been moved around. It went to the Grizzlies in the Porzingis 3-way deal.
Right, yeah.
But they still effectively have the selection, at least as far as the NBA draft is concerned.
Right.
He's not going to put on a Celtics hat, is he? No, they at least have the Memphis logo up, so. I guess because none of these trades are technically official yet, right?
Yeah. So Sacramento trade leaves them with $91 million in guaranteed salary. I'm reading a Bobby Marks tweet right now. They could join a list of teams with cap space, but likely at the expense of forward Harrison Barnes. Kings could also take the approach with room and renegotiate the contract to Domantas Sabonis. Okay.
So what's the salary cap? Like the regular one, not the tax floor?
NBA salary, because it just got updated, right?
Yeah. Isn't it like 130 or something?
It's basically whatever its maximum could be.
Right.
Like it got close to like whatever the projected possible maximum NBA salary cap 2020.
136.
Yeah. I remember
they
this
had 91 in committed salary. The Kings?
Yeah. So they
have 45 million in cap space.
Yeah.
In like a historically weak free agent class, but maybe they can sign and trade for someone.
I don't know what their target is here, but like they're clearly making some moves. I mean, well, but also Rashawn Holmes meant nothing to them.
Yeah, he didn't play last year.
Yeah.
They would rather not play any big man at all when Sabonis sat than Rashawn Holmes.
Yeah. So I mean they still gave up a late first round pick essentially for that, but they probably have a target. I don't imagine they're just trading into flexibility, but again,
I guess Nick Smith has slipped a bit for people that considered him a first-round pick.
And Leonard Miller.
And, well, I mean, the whole idea
Richard.
that Leonard Miller was going to rise may have been fake from the get-go.
Yeah, but a lot of people bought it.
Yeah.
Ryan Repair.
A lot of posturing that goes into this.
See, this is so good. Okay, James. The one reason I boosted James Nagy up my board at the last minute just because like his measurements came in, and he's
were they good or bad?
Really good.
Okay.
Like he was like 6'11" without shoes with a 7'7" wingspan.
Ooh.
It's just massive. And like I already watched the tape and thought like, oh, this guy's really great. Like rim running athlete, defender with some decent perimeter mobility. So. Yeah, I'm surprised to see some. I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's looking like he might fall into the second round. But
so this is Indiana. Indiana traded some picks to Denver. So is Denver making this selection, or is this Indiana?
This one, I think, is Denver's pick.
Okay.
Right? They traded a 2023 pick to Denver.
Yeah.
So this is pretty interesting.
So Denver's gonna be going for a win now guy. I mean, I know KOC loves the idea of Andre Jackson in Denver. He won't stop mentioning it every single podcast. So.
All right. I don't like KOC as a draft guy at all, but
I know, but like it's just odd how often he mentions it. So
I would really like Trace Jackson Davis in Denver specifically.
Yeah, they don't really have a backup big. So.
Yeah. And I think he's the kind of backup big that would complement. I don't know, like. Well, yeah. Well, we're about to see who else would be really good in Denver. I mean, I wouldn't mind any like Andre Jackson's not a bad idea at all. I wouldn't mind any like athletic wing going to Denver. Andre Jackson
is still there.
Repair is still there. Julian Phillips,
Leonard Miller.
Well, I mean, Leonard Miller as the backup center isn't a crazy idea either. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. Like
Strother, if they just want like a good win now player.
Yeah, I mean, Strother is kind of like a Chris Murray type.
He's legit 6'7", apparently. I thought he was a little smaller than that, but
yeah, I mean,
he has some legitimate size.
At this point in the draft, who would be upset about getting Julian Strother? Like, he might be a good NBA rotation player.
I think he will be. Not a super high upside guy, but just a minute filler.
Ben Shepherd.
Ooh, okay.
Tell me about Ben Shepherd.
Belmont. I haven't seen a ton of Ben Shepherd, to be honest. I know he's
almost like a mid-major.
Good shooter, smart, heady, high IQ type of guy. Is he
Big
6'6"? He's
shooting
got
guard.
decent size. Yeah, he's a wing.
Not on my board at all. So I'm.
Yeah. No, he's a late riser.
There's always at least one player that gets drafted in the first round where I'm just like, I've not watched footage on you at all.
I mean, if they're gonna take an older wing, I definitely would have gone for either Strother or Colby Jones over Ben Shepherd. But
yeah, yeah.
I
Haven't
just think
heard.
both those guys had much better college track records. But
All right, so who's left in the first round now? Because now we're getting in the super late first round, and
four picks left.
Gigi Jackson has not been drafted. Ryan Rupert has not been drafted. Leonard Miller has not been drafted. CD Sissoko has not been drafted.
Trace Jackson Davis.
Bryce Sensabaugh has not been drafted.
Yep.
Colby Jones, as you already mentioned. Nick Smith.
Nick Smith is probably the highest pedigree guy that's still left. And this is the Hornets. I mean, I don't hate the idea of Nick Smith for the Hornets. Just take the.
I do. I hate that. I hate that pick.
What do you mean?
I mean, like I just feel like they got all these goofy these goofy guards, like Book Knight and.
Oh, come on, Book Knight and Nick Smith. Can you imagine a more fun backcourt?
Yes, I can. Very easily. Not a fun backcourt in my mind.
Run him out there with JT Thor.
What does it's hard to say what Charlotte needs, right? Because let's imagine Rozier and Hayward are not part of. So we got Mark Williams, we got Brandon Miller, and we got LaMelo Ball.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would honestly take
Miles Bridges, possibly, I guess.
Yeah, maybe go Sensabaugh.
I would not be that surprised if they drafted
scorer.
Yeah,
who can light it up.
I wouldn't be that surprised if they drafted Nick Smith Jr. I think he actually maybe does kind of fit in here.
Yeah, I just think late first round, you take the guy who was super highly regarded coming out of high school and thought of as someone with, could have been an early lottery pick.
Yeah.
And he did struggle with injuries a lot, so
it
wasn't all his own fault.
Shams just let us know that Charlotte is selecting Nick Smith Jr.
Okay. Makes sense. It's a Michael Jordan pick. He's still involved.
Michael Jordan is still involved.
For like another couple weeks, right? I mean, he's still a minority owner of the team. So he's not going away. Gone, but why did he sell out of the majority ownership of the Hornets?
I think he just saw an insane cash grab opportunity, sort of like he bought that team for I don't know, like $700 million or something like that, and he's just like, oh yeah,
$3 billion, right? May have lost Iain. We'll see if he comes back. But if not, we're getting pretty close to the end of the first round anyway, so. Yep. All right. It's official on the broadcast. Nick Smith to the Pelicans. I do think there's a world in which Nick Smith is pretty good. Okay, Utah Jazz up at 28. Yeah, Nick Smith missed 19 games, so he's pretty much out half of the year. Okay, Utah's pick is in. I'll check. And they are going to be taking Bryce Sensabaugh at 28. Wow. Sensabaugh shot over 40% from three in college. That's really good. Okay, it's official. Bryce Sensabaugh, and Ian's internet is dead, so I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Almost made it through the first round. Yes, two more picks to go, but made it through 3 hours. Still a lot of good players left, but the draft will be going on for quite some time. So yeah, that'll do it for this one.